Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one chief rocker in Knicks universe, your main man's Uncle Freezy. We have a special treat for you today. So we are doing what's called a super collab across multiple YouTube channels. So if you are watching this on We Talk Mavs and We Talk Hawks, thank you. If you're watching this on Blorange, thank you. We are gonna bring three super NBA channels together and talk about certain topics. And basically, we are gonna talk that talk the way that y'all like to have that talk to y'all. First of all, let me bring in my guy, one of the most popping YouTube channels going, one of the most exciting YouTube channels going, growing so fast, representing the Dirty South.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart.
Yo, what's up, brother?
What's up, baby? How you living?
Man, we good. We good. You know, we got celebrities backstage, bro. You know, we got celebrities backstage.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
I'm gonna introduce them, y'all. Hey, listen, nobody pops on social media like these guys. Nobody really is in tune with their fan base on the inside and the outside like these two guys. I really don't know how to introduce them and bring them on because they're so big, you know, and growing so fast and have such an impact in that Midwest that they probably don't even need an introduction, right? They probably don't even need an introduction, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, what's good? As we talk Mavs, it's Rel, King Kai in the building. What's good, y'all?
Oh, my bad. I didn't see myself on the intro. I didn't know I was here.
That's my fault, y'all. That's my fault, right?
No,
I'm a goober.
Keep
I'm
it
a
real.
goober at this. I'm learning, though. I'm learning.
Keep it real, Freezy. It's really my fault. I done missed like the last 4 times I was supposed to be on the show.
You said 18 times?
Yeah, so he thought I was a no-show again, but I had to show up and surprise him. So I'm glad I'm here. Thank you, Freezy.
Hey, man. Hey, thank you. Thank y'all all for setting aside some time. Not for just me and this channel, but NBA fans in general. It's good to have YouTubers collaborating and you know what I'm saying, talking, you know, fan bases talking about the NBA across the board with the expertise on their fan base and their team. But I got a really tough question I want to ask all of y'all just to get started, right? My question is this. What is your perception of your star player versus what you feel like the rest of the NBA, how the rest of the NBA views your star player? Rel, you want to go first? You want to take that one?
Oh yeah, that's cool. Man, I know me and King talk about this all the time. Matter of fact, we talked about that on our last show. The fact that, man, all the young players in the league, all the young superstars or stars or whatever, it's like every last one of them get compared to Luka, no matter what the situation is. We were sitting there talking about the fact that they could be talking about Devin Booker and Tatum, and then somebody just all of a sudden brings up Luka's name. Like Luka's over here chilling, minding his business, and it's like, yeah, Tatum, Luka. It's like, okay, Luka's minding his business. Why are we bringing Luka up, right? So it's like every single accolade or every milestone or whatever you want to say, man, it's like they got to bring Luka's name up in everything. And I mean, I know I know people might think it's a form of respect or whatever or something like that, but I mean, King might think it's a form of respect. For me, I think it's kind of annoying. You know what I'm saying? We love the way Luka plays and all that stuff. We know he does his thing, and we know that he is the face of our franchise. He's one of the top 3 players in the league or whatever, right? But we know that on the outside, I know we brought this up before too. Being a young white guy in the league full of black players, he don't get looked at like that in the mainstream of things. No matter how much of a popular player he is internationally, like they look at people like Ja Morant, guys like that, right? As being, they want those guys to be the face because they can kind of relate to those guys a little bit more than they can to Luka. I know we talked about it before we started. Luka doesn't talk a lot either, right? So you can't really relate to him like that. Like you can. I mean, you can relate to a guy like Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Giannis is more outspoken, outgoing, and stuff like that. Luka doesn't really do that. Luka just go play basketball and he go home.
Right,
It feels like pulling teeth, man, when he's trying to talk in interviews and stuff like that because he don't want to do it. He just want to go play basketball and go home or whatever. So maybe that has a lot to do with it. But as far as like the perception, we all know about the main perception is like he out of shape and all that type of stuff, right? We talk about that all the time on our show. We talk about the fact that Luka probably can work on that a little bit, get himself in shape, come in better shape next year, and we feel that if he comes in better shape, i.e. Jokic, the way he did, as soon as Jokic got into shape, what happened? He took over, started getting 2 MVPs. Now he's about to go he's in the finals and might win a ring this year, right?
Right.
So we kind of envision that for Luka. Just come in shape, get your mind right, and he can take that next level, that next step to be that guy like a Giannis or a Jokic.
Right. Ken, you want to build on that too?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of it. I feel like basically what we yell about on our show is that it's a point in Luka's career right now in his perception. I should say, first and foremost, I hate that he doesn't talk because the only time you get to see him talk is when he's crying to the referees. It seemed like so. That's the only thing people have an image of is Luka.
Luka cries to the referees?
Man, that's what everybody did, but Luka definitely does. But yeah, I hate that that's the only time you see him because he seemed like he's a very humble dude that's down for guys. Like the reason Rick Carlisle was gone, it was attached to him being a coach killer, but he was looking out for his guy, for Dennis Smith Jr., who was treated like terribly by the organization. I just think, I truthfully think, I tell Rellis all the time, I think he has the talent to be the greatest offensive player of all time. That should be his floor. Like I've never seen anything the way this guy plays. I've been watching basketball for a while now. I think everybody here has. I've never seen the things he do on the floor. Kevin Durant, I think Theo Pinson, our guy, has a podcast. He was talking about who has the best bag in the league. And guys were talking about Luka and saying Luka doesn't have it because they don't, I guess because of the white thing. I think like Ralph said, just because he's different. It doesn't seem that way. But in my personal opinion, I think he's the best thing in the league, just waiting. I don't think he knows. I think he's kind of playing off of just his ability, just his talent. He just thinks he's just nicer than everybody because he's been nicer than everybody, since he's been basically 14 or whatever. So once he gets to the point, and it looks like it may happen, of understanding his body and the next level, if he gets there, like you said, he'll reach that upper echelon, those LeBron, Giannis's, Jokic, like I said. If not, he might end up being a James Harden. And I don't think of James Harden as far as so he'll never be James Harden as far as the choking. I don't think Luka chokes at all. Like Luka goes out and give you his all. But as far as being a guy that puts up numbers, offensive numbers, but doesn't get rings, that's the thing we don't want it to become. I don't think he'll allow it to happen, especially he'll leave Dallas before that happens. I think me and Ro talk about that all the time. We may be Mavs fans, but we keep it real. I don't think Luka wants to just win no championships. I don't think he wants to win one. I think he wants to be known as one of the greats. I think he wants to try to win 2 or more. Right. But other than that, man, like it is what it is. Like he's that dude. He's been the young guy, the young hot toy that's come out. He's been on the under 25 list since he's been in the league. Basically, it's number 1. I tell Rel all the time, I think guys are just trying to compare him to other guys because he's the flavor of the week. That's what happens. Once you have a great guy, the way the media tries to do, they try to break him down. I think I just watched Arrow, bro, yesterday with my wife, and they were talking to Michael Jordan about they will try to break you down, but it's our job to build you back up every time they do it. That's what they do with players. Me and Ro have a different opinion on national media. I know they're needed. I know they're for the casual fan. I hate that they do the things they do and they say the things they say because casual fans listen to them when they don't know what they're talking about at times. But Luka's the real deal, though, man. That's all I feel. Freeze. That's basically what it comes around to. Luka's the real deal. It's not just because I'm a Mavs fan. If I was a Bullets fan, if I was a Wizards fan, if I was any other fan, I'd know Luka Doncic is the real deal. He is that dude. He's a top 5 player. I think he's a top 3 player in the NBA, like Rel says. And I really think it's him to stop him from being number 1. I think he could be number 1 by far.
Right. Damon, before we talk about the Mavs, before we talk about the Hawks' best player and your perception of him and what you think the national media's perception is, what is your perception from a Hawks fan? You know what I'm saying? Being a fan of a team that's all the way across the country. What's your perception of Luka Doncic?
My perception of Luka Doncic. Shout out Luka Doncic, man, former Hawk great.
For like 10 minutes.
Former Hawk great, going down with one of the great Hawk drafts. One of the greats that wore a Hawks draft hat.
Right.
We put him up there with Melo. I got to order a Melo jersey and a Doncic jersey. But my opinion of Luka Doncic is, I think Luka Doncic is a great player. People that know me from the Facebook group New Pack City know that I wanted to keep Luka Doncic.
You said on the show.
Yeah, I had a whole video where I went on like a 20-minute rant on draft when we traded him because I did not want Trey Young. I wanted to keep Luka because he was more polished. I think we could have sped up our rebuild a little bit faster because I think with Luka playing as a pro, early at 16 years old, it gives him a little bit more maturity to where he understands about when he comes to the NBA, you don't have to teach him how to be a pro because he grew up around professionals and he's been a professional for a long time. I think Luka Doncic is he like a forward version of Jokic. Like, not if you seen him like outside, like if you seen him at the Y and you picking 5-on-5, like, and we all the same height, you're not picking him. You like, who's this guy? But he fools you with same thing like Jokic. They fool you. They're not very athletic, but they're very fundamental, and they can think the game. So when you're not athletic, you have to be able to think the game, see the game, and understand the game. And it's crazy because I was just listening to Kobe Bryant speaking about European players compared to, and I'm sure y'all probably heard that interview before when he talked about European players fundamentals versus the AAU circuit over here with our American players. And I think Luka Doncic, I think that a lot of people, the reason they hate on Luka Doncic is because like the media, they force it down your throat. You know what I'm saying? Right. Every day it's a Luka Doncic, Luka this, Luka that, even though they didn't even, not hating on the Mavs, but they did make the playoffs.
Right.
But the media still makes him an all NBA player. Now, I'm not saying he's not an all NBA player, but I'm just saying the fact like stuff like that with the media is like they build, how can I say it? It's like they make fans want to hate a certain player. Right. Almost like a LeBron James. Like, at the end of the day, LeBron James ain't really done nothing for nobody to be upset with him. You know what I'm saying? Or hate him. But the media forces a LeBron James on you to the fact to where you just don't want to hear about him. I think the media does the same thing to Luka. Doesn't take away his greatness. But you see that seems like everybody's pulling for Jokic. Why? Because you don't see a Jokic commercial. You don't see them pushing a Jokic, forcing a Jokic. Jokic did Jokic. Now they saying it now, playoff time. But during the season, you didn't see nothing but Jokic. But every day it's a Luka Doncic, it's a LeBron James. Why is this guy great? He's great because of this, but he ain't won nothing. But anybody who follow basketball, know Luka Doncic is a what Dick Vitale used to say is a primetime player.
Yeah, primetime.
Walking triple double, point forward. Can do everything you want him to do on the basketball court. So I think Luka Doncic is awesome. Glad not glad we traded him, but I can see why. Like, you know, he probably wouldn't fit, you know, the Atlanta vibe, you know.
Yeah.
But you know me, I don't care about the vibe. I care about wins and losses. You know, to help us win some freaking games. That's all I care about.
Right.
But I think Luka Doncic is an awesome player. You know, awesome. We need to be looking over there and find us another European.
Right. If it's out there, before we talk about the Hawks' best player and how you feel about him and the league's perception, just want to say something about Luka real quick, right? And this is no shade on Luka or Mavs fans, man. But the Mavericks always have talent, bro. Luka Doncic is just, to me, he just another part of the assembly line in Dallas. Dallas is always going to have some type of generational talent or close to it. It's what they do. Now, Dallas's flaw over the years, since 1980, is not built around the generational talent that they get. It's their history. That's what they're known for, right? Is it like certain organizations, like Miami, is gonna take a little bit and make a lot out of it. That's what they're known for, right? Even back in the 80s when they had Jamal Mashburn and Alonzo Mourning, they were the number 1 seed in the East, right? But what I'm gonna say about Luka is I think Luka is flawed. Like, Luka has a lot of flaws, but unlike natural NBA players, his flaws are his own.
Yep.
Right? Go. Right. His flaws are his own. Like the getting in shape thing for a professional athlete shouldn't even be a topic. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't even be a topic for a professional athlete.
Facts.
Right? Because there are stars around the league that have major flaws that are just inherent to their archetype. Yep. Well, Luka's archetype is perfect. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's just him. Yeah. He don't want to get in shape. Right? He don't always lock in on defense. Yep. You know what I'm saying? That's him. My thing is I understand Luka is a different type of animal. I've seen Luka before. You know what I'm saying? I used to watch Larry Bird in his prime. Mm-hmm. And Larry Bird in his prime was doing Luka type stuff. And I know names like Larry Bird get are forgotten to history. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just like in 25 years, some you know what? Not even 25 years. In about 6 years, Vic W will be doing such amazing stuff that it'll probably start to diminish the great things that Giannis and Luka are doing right now. It's just the evolution of the game. But as far as Luka goes, the perception of Luka where we are is that man is good, but he is a out of shape crybaby that don't play defense, and he get all the whistles, bro. All of them, and he be back up for more. He like, yo, you only gave me 17 whistles. I need 20 whistles.
He should have had 27.
Yes, every game. Right. So and not knocking Luka, because Luka's a great player, right? Luka's a great player, but this whole thing, the Mavericks didn't make the playoffs this year, and I'm not saying it as a bitter Knicks fan about the draft pick. I'm talking about
Come on, it's okay, Freeze. Let it out, man. Let it out.
I'm saying when you have I don't blame him. I would have tanked too and got to kept my pick. I ain't lying.
But I'm saying, but when you have a generational talent and then you add another generational type talent to that, there's no excuse for you losing, even with bad coaching, bro.
But you know what, Freezy? Can I add something to that? Let me tell you something, man. Luka and Trae, they both. I tell people like this. I be like, Trey Young is just a shorter version of Luka. They do the exact same thing. They ball dominant and don't play defense. But the thing about Luka Doncic, like with the whistle, at the end of the day, you know, I put that on the NBA. Right. The NBA is the one, you know, probably, you know, I can't sit here and say it's a fact, you know, like I tell people, I'm just a fan. The NBA is the one out there pushing certain players, you know, to get certain treatment, you know, because it looks good when a Luka, a Giannis, you know, when they putting up 25, 35 points, so they can advertise that overseas. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and what happens is over time you just get used to, when you get used to getting certain calls. I mean, LeBron James do the exact same thing. Yeah. He expect to get certain calls, and when they don't get them, they complaining. All because the NBA set that tone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the NBA, but we know we can all agree the NBA been like that since Michael Jordan.
Yes.
You know, they've been like that for a minute. So when it comes to the fouls, because Trae do the same thing. You know, we sit there and complain because Trae will get, he'll get fouled, and he will stand right at the end of that court complaining to the ref while the ball going the other way, and we be sitting here complaining like, get back on defense, Trae. But the NBA came up with this current foul merchant situation that these star players get, because you see regular players don't get those calls. They're going to the lane, get
I've been
smacked
saying that
up.
for years, man.
Yeah.
I've been saying that. You even hear me say this. Like, I don't understand why Michael Jordan goes to the hole, get bodied. Bloody Blah goes to the hole, get bodied. Bloody Blah don't get the foul call, but Jordan does. But we both went to the hole the exact same way. Both got bodied the same way, but he gets the call and I don't, because I'm not Michael Jordan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out
so
to
that's the
Dirk.
part I never understood. But to go back on what Freezy was talking about with the 2 superstar thing, like, yeah, on the surface, you're right.
Right.
You're supposed to, with 2 superstars, you're supposed to go. And it's like, but we've learned today in this day and age, like when we were talking about the Phoenix Suns, right? Everybody's talking about, Phoenix Suns was the shoe in to win a championship.
Right.
They had 2 superstars. And what they do? They fizzled out. They didn't make it, because now we're in the age now, you have to have people around you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have certain, because you can have all the superstars you want, but I can't substitute people in.
Right.
I can't give certain players the certain type of minutes they need.
Right.
I can't put the certain rotations in. That's not my job. That's the coach's job.
Right. Right.
So I can go out there and score all the points, but you the one that got to put everybody in place.
Right.
And if you got a coach, no matter how many points I score, we had a guy who scored 60. Luka scored 60 points
Against them.
again. Well, yeah, he
Against
scored
the
60 points, and
I saw
he
it.
still had a losing season. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you that the player can go. Matter of fact, Jordan was before he got Pippen, right? Was scoring all these points, but what was he doing?
Right.
So that's cool. You being a superstar, you can score all these points, and you supposed to be in the this and that and whatever, second round or whatever. Yeah, that's cool, but it's everything else around you. That we got Dwight Powell as our center, bro. So I mean, who we stopping? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's certain things you got to have in place for these guys to actually make it to that level. Now, every once in a while, you get a Jimmy Butler where he got a bunch of.
How about your 2 superstars play some defense?
No, I'm not saying that. No, I agree, but the thing is, like, I can't 100% put it on them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's like, cause then we're giving my front office a pass. We're giving my coaching staff a pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we giving all the other guys a pass. Like I said, the Dwight Powell, the guys like that who you've been in the league almost like 9 years and you have not added anything to your game.
Right.
Just
That's not like Luka and Kyrie, fault.
Sound like Clint Capella on the Hawks, but
exactly.
But watch this though. Watch
my
this.
starting center's giving me 6 and 3.
You know what,
Like,
Real?
what am I supposed to do with that? I'm putting up 60 points, but my center only give me 4 points and 1 rebound. It's like, what am I supposed to do with it?
You know what, Real? I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'll tell you, man, the Hawks and the Mavs is so much alike.
Yin and yang, man.
King said that yesterday.
So one thing about, even though they added Kyrie Irving, what we all know is it's not the player you add, it's does that player fit what you're doing? Think about this. Luka Doncic, let's keep it real. He's a point forward. He ball dominant. So when you add a Kyrie, who is a point guard, ball dominant, you could say shooting guard, whatever, but he ball dominant, right? Mm-hmm. Guess what? The Hawks, Trey Young, ball dominant. Who do we go get? Murray. But what is Murray? A point guard.
That's ball dominant.
But they don't fit. So back to what Real was saying is, so you need a coaching staff to say, you know what? On paper, like Real said, you see a Luka and a Kyrie, you're like, oh yeah, we finna make it run. We finna do A, B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. But does a Kyrie Irving fit? Is a Kyrie Irving a need for the Mavs? Just like with us. Was Murray a need for us? Hell no, he wasn't. Because we didn't need another ball dominant guard. Because now we want to.
You want to tackle that first, or you want me to?
Yeah. Before we do that, I would just want to answer. Wanted Damon to talk to the perception of Trey Young.
Oh, okay.
His perception of Trey Young, and then what the perception of Trey Young is around the league. And if y'all don't mind, well, I wanted y'all to chime in on the perception of Trey Young after.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
After Damon finishes, if y'all
All right, let me tell you what's funny about Trey Young, man. Okay, me myself, I've been rooting, and I always tell people this. I've been rooting for the Hawks for a long time, man, like 35 years. So my patience is very thin, right? But with Trey, people for some reason think I don't like Trey Young. I freaking love Trey Young. Okay, I got all his crap, shoes, all that crap. You know, I call him Young Legend. What? So me personally, I hold Trey Young to a higher standard. Once you sign that max contract, super max contract, or whatever you want to call it, for making all NBA, when you the face of the franchise, let's be real. You know, I look at it like it's football, like a quarterback.
Yep.
You are held when the team wins to lose. You are held responsible, right? So it seems like I'm always going in on Trey, but you know, I look at Trey. You're the superstar of the team. You know, you supposedly make stuff happen. When stuff not going right, yeah, I'm blaming you. Just like if this was NFL, we blame the quarterback. You know, you the face of the franchise. I love Trey Young. What I find funny is how the media, you know, mainstream media, you know, like I done seen Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, Chris Broussard when they speak on Trey Young, and some of the players in the NBA when they voted my guy the 12th best guard. Like, I can't freaking believe that nonsense. But it's funny because they'll do stuff like that. Trey Young, the 12th best guard. Trey Young, empty stats. But then turn right around. As soon as the offseason come, everybody want to trade for him.
Right.
Trey Young to the Lakers. Trey Young here. Here's another package. And I sit here and laugh because I'm like, oh, I thought Trey Young was putting up empty numbers. I thought he was overrated. But everybody want him on his team. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Trey Young, and I said this the other day on my show, man. As a Hawks fan who lives out of the state of Georgia, down here in Texas, man. You know, I go to every time the Hawks come to San Antonio, I go to the game. Before Trey Young, I promise you, it's probably about five Hawk fans down there in that arena. I can count
Probably.
us on the team. Like when we see each other, it's
and it may be a family. And it may be a family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out Paul Millsap.
Ever since Trey Young been on this team, man. Ever since he been on this team, like the last game I went down there to San Antonio, but when we came to San Antonio, bro, we was deep with number 11 jerseys. We was deep. Right. So I Trey Young, he gave us that as a Hawks fan, he gave us that Michael Vick effect. I don't know if y'all really follow football, but you know, Falcon, we was crap. We got Vick. Next thing you know, we was a household name. Trey Young has done the same for the Atlanta Hawks. So I promise you, Tony Rustler, that's 213 million he giving Trey. He probably made all that the first three years off merchant season tickets. Okay, so like I said, I love Trey Young. Okay, but I hold him to a superstar standard. I hold him like if he was a Luka, if he was a Giannis, if he was a Michael Jordan. That's the type of standard I hold him to. A lot of our younger fans, they'll look at me like I'm hating. But I'm like, no, I hope, because he's our best player. He's our star player.
Demond, you can't criticize your star player. That's not what you're supposed to do.
I mean, man, you know, I hold him accountable. But don't get me wrong. I freaking love Trey Young, man. Like, we wouldn't be crap without him. I ain't even gonna lie. But like I said, it's funny how the players are voting the 12th best guy. He get no love for all NBA, even though he led the league. And I know he led in turnovers, but in total points, total assists, and he gets no love. But like I said, as soon as the offseason come, Lakers want him. We want him.
So your perception of Trey Young is that he's an all-time Hawk great, you think?
Hell yeah, man. He gonna lie, bro. Like, let me say it like this. For our younger fans, my favorite Hawk is always Dominique Wilkins. Nobody gonna touch Nick to me, okay? But as far as like right now, since he's got here, he's had the most influence on our organization. Probably since Dominique, and I'm talking about even because we drafted, we drafted and he's developed with us. Unlike some people consider Mutombo a Hawk great. I don't consider him Hawk
Right,
great.
me
'Cause
either.
I
to
remember
me,
you
he
talking
a-
about that. I remember you talking about
to
that.
me, he a rocket. He a traitor
Yeah,
to
to
me,
me,
but that's
yeah.
whatever. That's a
To
different
me, he a
topic.
nugget. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
even though we had good runs with him, Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock, we didn't draft those guys.
Right.
Like, to me, it's something different when you draft a guy, and as a diehard fan like us, and we watching day one, oh, he made his debut, and then next thing you know, it's year 4 or 5. Like, we got time invested with these players.
You said Jalen Brunson?
And the influence that he's had on our organization, the influence he's had on our organization, man, is second to me, second
Hey,
to Dominique.
can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Why is it that because the perception around the NBA is when Atlanta gets good, they get good as a team, right? Like when the Mavericks get good, they generally get a Mark Aguirre, a Dale Ellis, a Rolando Blackman, a Jason Kidd, Jim Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, Dirk Nowitzki, and others. Like, they get like linchpins of talent that the team builds around. Now the Mavericks ain't gonna win nothing. That's their perception around the league. Like Luka, like for instance, so I'm in my 50s, right? Mm-hmm. When I talk to old timers, my uncles and them that's in their 70s and 80s, they're like, yeah, that boy good, but he ain't gonna do nothing. Dallas ain't gonna build no team around him. That's what they normally do. They complain about everything, but they not committed to going and getting the guy to go with the guy. That's their history. That's who they are. It's the same thing with the Denver Nuggets. They'll get a guy, but they're not committed to putting guys around the guy. The Hawks, however, they stole Richie Guerin from us way back in the 60s. They used to have a backcourt. They used to have got Lou Hudson, Richie Guerin, Lenny Wilkins, and they had a team, right? And then in the 80s, they had Doc, Dominique, Kevin Willis, John Contract. We call him John Contract. We know his name Concact, but we call him Contract because it's like, how he get a big contract? But anyway,
and so funny that $3 million he signed for, that ain't nothing in today's.
That ain't nothing. But it had everybody salty when he signed that money.
Yeah, at $3 million a year.
Yeah, but then, like, even when you move from that, then you go to the Childress evolution into Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, Al Horford, all of them guys. When the Hawks are good, they have good teams, right? But right now, when you look at the Hawks, you're looking at Hawks with good pieces, right? Yeah. Is Trey Young a team player? Is he the generational talent that can bring a team together? Like, what is the Hawks' general reputation as a franchise, or is he just there? Is he just one piece, and the Hawks are looking to build around him to do what they traditionally do and build a team?
Well, the problem is this, and I'm just speaking during the Trey Young era. This is the problem. This is the problem why I look like we have stuff that we don't have stuff that match. That's why people say, we have pieces? Why? Because we don't have one vision in the front office. So now you got Nick Ressler, the owner's son, president of basketball, Landry Fields, general manager. I don't know. Who cares? Quinn Snyder, the coach. But guess what? He has in his contract, he has an executive in his title. He has some power over the roster, right? Then we got the owner, Tony Ressler, who likes to meddle here and there. So the thing is this, like I tell fans on the show, we don't know whose vision we're following. So I couldn't tell you, because I used to blame Travis Slink for everything until that news came out I think it was December, January, that he wasn't even the one making the moves. It was Nick Ressler going behind his back, talking to his dad, him and Landry, because they tight like this. You know what I'm saying?
Both of them young too, by the way.
Yeah. So the thing is this: we don't have what's the saying? You got too many chefs
in the kitchen.
Yeah, you got too many
cooks in the kitchen.
Right. Yeah. So let's look at your championship team. Look at Miami. What's been consistent ever since let's say 2010? What's been consistent? The head coach.
They have a culture, a hierarchy and a culture.
Right. For us, For the Knicks, guess what? We turn it. The front office is turning over every 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
I mean, now it's to the point with the Hawks. Word was Kyle Korver went behind Landry Fields and talked to the owner to get Quinn Snyder to come here, because Landry Fields, word is Landry Fields and Trey Young wanted Udoka, but guess what? Landry Fields wanted Udoka because Udoka would have came here, but he wouldn't have had no power.
Nope.
Right.
Quinn Snyder came here because he wanted the power. He wanted some power because he knew he had the leverage over the Hawks. He didn't need us. If he didn't take our gig, all these jobs that was opening, he would have been a candidate for every last one of those.
Right. Yep. Right.
And Landry Fields don't want to give up power. He wants control, but he ain't crazy. But that's a whole nother topic. But back the point is, we got too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
So y'all don't have team builders.
We do. The problem is we got 5 team builders, not one.
Oh, and all of them got like different visions. So it's
so
like,
I couldn't tell you who. I couldn't tell you right now, bro. Who has the, beside not counting the owner, who has the final say on who we draft this year?
Okay.
Is it Quinn Snyder? Or are they trying to do this? Hey, this old kumbaya. Hey, all 5, we're going to come together and find one guy. Too. We all going to agree on one guy. You know what I'm saying?
You said a committee, Demond? You said a committee?
Yeah, like, what are we doing here, man? Like, you have to have one person in charge. Golden State, who was in charge? Bob Myers. We all know that.
Right.
Toronto, who was in charge?
Ujiri.
You see how we can all say those names? Hawks, who's in charge? Tony Wrestler, Nick Wrestler, Landry Fields, Kyle Korver, and Quinn Snyder.
Right.
You can't build a team like that, man.
Okay.
Because the parts won't fit. So, I mean, Trey Young, I'm going to tell you right now, man. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all real quick. I already been said it. If we keep playing this 41-win, 43-win basketball, I wouldn't be surprised Trey Young asked for a trade in 2 years.
Right. I wanted to get to that.
And I wouldn't blame him.
I wanted to get to that. I didn't want you to. I was hoping you wasn't gonna let the cat out the bag on that one. Sure. Let me, because I have a feeling the Mavs guys are gonna have an opinion on that also. Right. But let me say this though. Let me go to King Kai. So King Kai, let me ask you this: what is your perception of Trey Young? You and Rel, like, what's your guys' perception of, like, how do y'all view Trey Young from a Dallas Mavs perspective?
I have some questions I want to ask Demond.
Yeah, I had a question too.
I don't want to throw stuff out and just be wrong. But based off of what's being said and like even the questions you asked, I'll say before the draft, Demond, I wanted Trey Young. I didn't know anything. I tell people that I didn't know anything about Luka. I didn't really look overseas like that because I felt the whole overseas thing was just you get once in a blue moon when you find the guy or whatever. So I was like, that's not going to be the way to go. Let's go get somebody to help Dirk, ride out or whatever that's in the league. I knew Trey Young was leading, the nation in like scoring and assists. Yep. So I was like, this dude is ridiculous. They're going to let a Steph Curry type player again.
This happened during the Steph Curry emergence, by the way.
Yep. They were going to let that guy.
On Steph Curry's incline, you saw Trey Young coming in the pipeline.
Yep. So I thought they were going to just let that guy just walk. I'm like, it's the NBA now. I know how spacing works. If he comes to the league, he's going to score in all the same way, I thought. So I wanted Trey when we got him, and then we traded him for Luka. I was like, oh, well, let me go look at this guy, see what it is, because it can be a huge mistake. We end up getting Luka, whatever. We know how that goes. But as far as the Trey Young thing, when I look at the league and like the media kind of disrespects it, but not only the media, but the players, as Freezy said earlier, like, well, you said as well, like, they don't really vote him as a high enough player. When I see that type of stuff, I'm like, well, why is that? You feel me? Like, why is it that the players don't think, like his peers do not think that is it because he's cocky, but then there's other players that's cocky as well, and they still respect them. So at this point of seeing like a LeBron wants Trey Young now, we hear rumors about that. Is it that the league perceives Trey Young as maybe being a number 2, like Uncle Freezy kind of led to, as far as like he's a piece to come bring it? Like maybe you guys are missing your number 1, and that's the issue. Like the team, kind of like Freezy said, you have a team, and Atlanta's been known for having a team, and maybe
that's what the Hawks do. They build a team. They build teams, bro.
Even back when, like you said, Millsap and Corver and all those guys,
They
it was
were
a
a
team
team
on 60 games, and if they had a star, say if you had like a Kawhi Leonard on that team, you guys would have been unstoppable.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it that Trey Young, maybe because of his own, God-given abilities, his height and all that stuff, is it that he can't be a number one? Because I feel the same about Kyrie. Like, I love Kyrie, and that's a whole different conversation about keeping him. I think he's a fit, but we'll talk about that later. I don't think he could be a number one just based off his body type. Like, I just think if he was 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", Kyrie be in a conversation as best player in the world, like, because of his bag. But because he's 6'2" or whatever, like, it just takes away from his game. He has to get beat up a little bit more. He has to hit the floor a little bit more. Like, he can't see over double teams as much as Luka does. Like, Luka has that ability because he's 6'7" to just see over guys and they come trap him and say, here you go. It's kind of harder. So I guess the question I'm asking you, is it that not that Trey Young doesn't have the talent, because I think he's talented as hell. Like, I hate that they bring Ja Morant just straight over. I'm like, when did that happen? When did Ja Morant and those guys get better than Trey Young? But is it just because of Trey Young's size?
Hey, you mind if I answer that?
No, it's because he play in Atlanta, bro.
What?
Yeah.
Even the players don't
watch this, man. Watch this. Prime example. Jalen Brunson.
Right.
What type? I didn't see Jalen Brunson all on no type of TV. Nothing while he was with Dallas. Right? Yeah. Even in the playoffs, when he was balling, right, they still were saying, well, he doing a good job, but Luka ain't here. Woo. Right. But guess what? As soon as he go to New York, let's be honest here, his game ain't changed. For the Knicks, he's still playing the same. He's still balling like he was balling in the playoffs with Dallas. But now all of a sudden, man, this guy should have been an All NBA mention, an All NBA player.
Right.
I think sometimes your location play a part, which the NBA pushes those major markets, right? Even though Atlanta, size-wise, TV market-wise, we're a top 10 market. Now, as far as because let's be honest here. At first, they said, well, Trey Young averaging 27 and 10, but we not winning. Then when we win and make the playoffs, they find something else to hate on. It's empty stats. They find something new to hate on this guy about. Also, I think, and once I got to say this, I don't know Trey Young personally, but I think Trey Young is really like a introvert. Because you don't really, you'll see him go to the games, but you don't really see Trey Young just out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Partying or whatever. He married, got a family, but you don't see him out there and about mingling with all the players. Usually, win or loss, he'll shake your hand and he walk off unless he's doing an interview. You don't see him hanging around. He'll hang out with his homies, like if he playing Denver, Michael Porter Jr., his best friend, he'll chop it up. So I think that's one of the reasons why he don't have really those close. I don't want to say close, but those publicized relationships. You don't see that because I think he's really introvert. I think he like to play and then take his ass home with his wife and kids. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as the number one, number two option, I've learned I don't even go by that. I don't even go by that no more. At the end of the day, we know you need two, whatever you want to call them, superstar, star. You need at least two because you need somebody to take pressure off the other player, right? Whether they are 1 or 2. You know what I'm saying? The only difference between when we say a 1 or 2 really is just your usage. That one get all that usage, and the two, whoever does get the second amount of usage is the number 2 guy. Right. I think Trey Young can lead us to a championship. I think that we missing. He's missing. He has to have certain type of players around him. He has to have. I think Trey Young would excel like in Denver, right? You take away Murray, you put Trae there, and because look at Jokic, they get Jokic the ball. Jokic getting them 14 assists. How? Because those players around him, they can finish at the basket, they can hit the 3,
and they can relocate.
They can
relocate well, yeah.
In Atlanta and on our team, a lot of our players got to be spoon-fed the ball.
Sounds familiar.
They got to be spoon-fed. So, Trey Young, I think, and I'm just you know, I'm just being funny, but I think sometimes Trey Young pass these dudes the ball, man. He just be like, "Where's my help at?"
Sounds familiar. But as far as being on the Nuggets, the moment before you finish, wouldn't he be number 2 on there though? He would be the clear cut number 2 if he went to the Nuggets.
He'll be number 2 as far as you know, how we look at it. But he would had the highest. He would have the ball more than anybody.
Yeah.
He would have the ball more than anybody because he's not a shooting guard like Jamal Murray. He's a true point guard.
Yeah.
One thing, Trey, I get on Trey Young about his shooting, but I'm gonna tell you one thing: this dude's vision and playmaking,
elite.
Yeah, it is.
Let me, if you don't mind me saying, I think Trey Young, pound for pound, is the best playmaker in the NBA. Now, with that said, with that said, I liken it to when Tom Brady didn't have receivers. Y'all remember when Tom Brady didn't have receivers and he used to get beat up in the pocket?
Yeah.
And then they went out and traded for Randy Moss. They was like, "Yo, we can't have Tom Brady back here getting
dropped 50 touchdowns a year."
Yeah. And then people like, Tom, where was this Tom Brady? He was always there. He just wasn't throwing to nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But just real quick about my take on Trey Young before I swing it back around about Randle, right? My perception of Trey Young is this. Pound for pound, I think he's the most skilled player in the NBA, even over Luka, even over Jokic. My thing with him is that at 168 or 170 or whatever it is he weighs.
Hold up, my guy 185.
Okay.
Get it right, Freezy. Get it right.
Hey, we need those. We need them last 10 pounds, Freezy. Do it dirty like that.
Okay, so
we ain't that skinny.
All right, so he talked to the trainer about writing 185.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
He just posted a picture yesterday. Man. My guy's in the gym, man. My guy in the gym.
Okay,
right.
It's better than 285.
Yeah, well, that is true. But my point, the perception of Trey Young for a lot of us is that Trey Young is too small to get smashed up on these screens defensively. Like Trey Young is too little to take that defensive pounding on the other end of the floor. And so that's why when you see him look at the screen, he like, yo, nah, he make business decisions there. And sometimes that just lead to easy baskets on the other end. Well, Trey Young initially was trying to fight through these things, and then he would miss large chunks of time. Not large, but like 4 games here, 3 games there. And it's like stuff like shoulder stuff. He like shoulder, you know what I'm saying? Because I saw him get hurt. He got hurt. No lie. We played Trey Young. Our game plan is run him around screens. He got hurt in every Knicks game he played. 1 was an ankle and 2 were upper body, right? Mm-hmm. Against us. That was the year we lost to the Hawks in the playoffs. In the regular season, we dominated them because we ran Trey Young around screens, right? I think we beat the Hawks like 3-1 in the regular season, and they beat us 4-1 in the playoffs, right? My thing was this. Trey Young, then we knew Trey Young at that weight, at 165 or whatever he was, couldn't take the pounding. What I'm saying, my whole thing with Trey Young is at least you see the progression of him understanding his weakness and trying to get better at it. Like 165 in the NBA ain't going, not in how physical the games are now.
You said Iverson?
Yeah. And you saw how many, when you look at Allen Iverson injury history, when you go to NBA.com and look at his injury history, bro, it's on like 4 pages.
Everything in his body has basically been injured.
Everything,
yeah. And so, do you want your superstar to go through that? No, you don't want your superstar to go through that. So, Trey Young, if you go around these screens and they score, hey man, listen, we just gonna accept your deficiency as it is. Until you get better at it, just get better along the. But I did want to say this thing about Julius Randle.
Oh, let me say one thing, Freeze. I was gonna piggyback off of what Damon said about the Trey Young thing, because me and King talked about this I think last show, right? When we talking about certain people who get certain spotlights and all that stuff, and we talked about Damon. You nailed it with the whole your guy got a spoon feed people, right? We had that same problem here. We talk about it all the time. Which kind of like we went back to the whole Kyrie thing. We asked him, like, do we need Kyrie? Like, yeah, you do need that guy because we got a guy that if we saw it this year, before we got Kyrie, whenever Luka didn't play, we lost every single game.
Right.
Because there's not another guy on this team that can go out there and create their own shot. You need Luka to literally hand you the ball and walk you to the goal to score. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like you were saying with the whole Trae thing, which is why me and King talked about this yesterday. We didn't understand why he was looked at under like a Ja Morant. And it's like, if you take Ja Morant off that team, Memphis has a winning record.
Right.
Not just a winning record. They got one of the best records in the league when you take that man off the team. Now, if you take Luka and Trae off the team, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you take Luka and Trae off the team, like I just said with Luka, between last year and this year, I think last year we were 7-9. This year we were 0-7 or 0-8 or whatever without Luka. That's a terrible record within those 2 years, right? Because we got one guy who can't. Everybody's so heavily dependent on. So I wanted to ask you, like, what's your opinion about that whole like Ja Morant, Trey Young thing? Because me and King was saying, like, I would still take Trey Young over Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? Just because he can fly and all that stuff, it's like you're not have to carry as much. You got guys on that team that can independently go and get their own bucket. They don't need you to set them up or spoon feed them to go get their buckets. The Atlanta Hawks do need that. You know what I'm saying?
It's because that Ja Morant can dunk.
That's it.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, Trey Young numbers career wise is better. I think he's way better. I think Trae is actually a true point guard. Like I said, elite playmaking. I think with Ja Morant, the NBA really pushes all this whatever narrative they want to push to the casual fans. Mm-hmm. So that's why fans like us can sit here and say, you know, because we way deeper into the game. Right. We can look and be like, I like Ja, he can dunk, but the dude 3-point percentage was low this year. How's he helping his teammates? Is he really that important to Memphis's success? Or is it the system? So we can look at it differently. So the casual fans, you know, they watching ESPN, YouTube, they see Morant with the highlight dunks. But guess what? Like you brought up, they don't see that. Hey, Memphis is 20 games over 500 without. I think, matter of fact, when he got hurt, I think they went on like a 15-game winning streak.
Yeah, 25
with the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, 25
Trey Young, because I was just about to tell Freezy, listen, I don't need him running through screens. We can't afford for his ass to get hurt.
Right.
Because we will be hurting if Trey Young missed 15 games, bro. The season is about done for us. So with Ja Morant, and like you say, with Ja Morant, you know, Ja Morant, he got the highlight dunks and everything, but I think that's what the NBA pushes to all those casual fans. But
is that the John Stockton versus Kevin Johnson argument? Like, which point guard would you rather have, John Stockton or Kevin Johnson? To me, that's that argument.
I think they're similar.
John Stockton.
Because KJ could distribute the ball.
But not only that, though, we're all old enough to remember this. Do we remember a narrative being pushed that Kevin Johnson was better than Stockton? Like, I think everybody understood Stockton was that guy.
No, KJ was that. KJ was becoming.
No, I'm not saying he wasn't hurt. I'm not saying that. Well, I knew KJ was a beast, but I mean, but there was not a narrative push because KJ can do some things that Stockton couldn't do.
Yeah,
there was a national narrative push that he was that. You know,
that's what I'm saying about my argument. The difference was that Kevin Johnson could dunk.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them on that list yet. It was just back and forth because neither one of them did anything yet. Yeah. So it's like Kevin Johnson was the new flavor of the week, kind of like Ja Morant is. He can do a little something, but he started getting hurt. And now, in hindsight, we can see John Stockton over time, way better defender, just playmaker.
Look at the record book
and all that stuff. Yeah, like it is what it is. Yeah. So, but Damon, I wanted to say something to you real quick. The elephant in the room, Trey Young against the Miami Heat. That's, I think, a reason why he gets hate as well too. Now, why his fire isn't as bright as it used to be. That was one of the worst playoff performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, he had more turnovers than field goals made.
Yeah.
So go ahead, King. My bad.
No, you're fine. I'm just gonna say I think that's like a stain now. You know how playoffs are, make you or break you. James Harden, and I'm not saying that should make him because he's had some awesome playoff moments as well.
Hey, look at LeBron. 2011. No matter how many championships he won after that,
I'm sure y'all been on the show when I'm going back and forth with like Matt and them. And I always bring it up. I'll be like, he quit against Miami, and I think that's just the when we played Miami, it didn't help that Clint Capella was hurt. Collins was hurt. Like Collins wasn't even supposed to play, right?
Right.
Clint was hurt, so we had his pick and roll guys playing at 40% capability. You know, John wasn't even supposed to be out there.
Right.
But I think with the Miami, I think the Miami series showed the front office we really need a legit number 2, as we like to say, or at least, and like I like to tell people, we need another player who could command a double team.
Yes.
Right.
Because what did they do? What did Miami do? I mean, and let me say this. I got to tip my cap to, Eric Spoelstra with a masterful game plan. He saw what we did, took away the pick and roll from Trae, and without, we lived and died off that pick and roll. They took it away. We had no number 2 at the time. And I mean, Dre Hunter tried to step up, but once again, cats like Dre Hunter is always too little, too late.
Right.
And I believe Trae, I think he learned from that series. Like, you're just not finna go out there against, when you're going, not even a team, when you're going against top coaches. And I always bring Eric Spoelstra up. This dude started in the video room. So to me, that dude understands film. He know what he looking at. And he knew what we was good at. He took it away.
Right.
Trae got frustrated. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could tell it like in game. You could just tell game 5. He was just giving the ball up, bro. He ain't even want
this was last year though, right? Not this year.
Yeah, last year in the playoff. Like, he didn't even want the ball because by game 5. But I also put a lot of that on Nate McMillan because you got to make adjustments. Like I was saying, the whole series, we have to play faster. You can't. We don't have the talent to play half court basketball against a team like the Heat. So, I mean, I think Trae learned a lot from that series in the playoffs. Like those coaches,
they got some get back this year though against Miami, right?
Yeah, man, the playing don't
I
count
mean,
for me, man. Like, I don't care about
Miami in the
playing,
finals
bro.
right now, so I don't think.
Like, to me, I was disappointed. To me, we shouldn't even been in a play-in situation. So
No,
that's how I be feeling.
no,
I mean, so like to me, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad we made the playoffs, but we shouldn't have been no 41-41 team. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion, though.
Bro,
I gotta.
But let me ask you something, Freezy. Let me ask you something, man.
Okay.
Now, I've talked to you one-on-one, and you know how I feel about Randle. Right. My question is
that's their best player. That's their best player right there.
My question is this.
He might be going back.
My question is this. I'm gonna ask you again up here. For a guy that was an all NBA player on great money, I'm out for an all NBA player. He on a good ass contract for an all NBA player. Why do the Knicks fans despise Randle so? Like, Randle could have like 1 or 2 bad games, and bro, the Knicks fans I see, they'll crucify this guy.
Right.
And I'm like, bro, why do y'all hate this guy so much? What's the deal with Randle, man? Because it's the same question for you.
Right.
You know how I like Randle.
Right.
But it seems like Knicks fans, first chance they get, they be like, man, get this dude up out of here, man.
Right. It's as simple as this. An enforcer can't be your best player. When an enforcer is your best player, for one, you're not going to win a championship. And 2, the fans are going to turn on him. Because when you're an enforcer, you're the hero only long enough for the fan base to turn on you and make you the villain. Right. But when you're fancy, if you're Luka, you dribbling behind your back and you smiling and you getting the and ones at the rim, or if you Trey Young, knocking down 30-point threes to take a 2-point lead with 2 minutes left to go, the fans love it. But when your best player is a rebounder, all he do is go down and get rebounds and gritty plays and block shots and things of that sort, and maybe get hot, knock down some threes and have moments, fans don't gravitate toward that because it's not Hollywood enough for them. Right? It's not Hollywood enough. Randle, and listen, all of y'all know sports. Y'all know, you remember when Charles Barkley was the best player on the Sixers? Mm-hmm. They ain't went nowhere.
Nope.
Right? And even when you took Barkley out of that situation and put him on the high-flying Phoenix Suns, they still didn't win a championship. Even in Barkley's best year ever. Right? right? When your best player is an enforcer, the fan base can't really deal with it because it's not exciting enough. It's like going to work and working 8 hours by yourself and nobody see it. You know what I'm saying? No high fives, ain't no gold star. You don't get nothing. All you did was grind. You know what I'm saying? The grinders and guys like that are never going. Because think about it. Think about people forget about the grinders of the NBA. People forget about the Michael Cages. People forget about like the Horace Grants,
the Antoine Cars.
Yeah, the Antoine Cars. Yeah,
Tyrone Hill.
Yeah, ew.
Jane Duckworth.
I told a girl one time she looked like Tyrone Hill. She made me so mad. But anyway, anyway.
But you know what, Freezy? You know what? To me, though, man, like when I see Randle, when Randle be all mad, to me, he seemed like a New York Knick, bro. Like he gets mad, angry.
He's from here, by the way.
Every time I see cats from New York, that's exactly what y'all are. Y'all rude, mean. And I'm like, I figure Randle
is a perfect fit, right?
Would fit that culture, like the way because he gets angry, bro.
Right.
Like,
you know what, I think I told Freezing this one day I was on their show. I stopped by and I said I think the one reason why I think they hate on Randle is because Randle was asked. He's put in a position that he's not really supposed to be in. He's not a number one.
Right.
Like if he was doing what he was doing as a number 3 on somebody's team, nobody would be killing him. They'd be loving him. Like, yo, you are the perfect number 3. Everybody wants to buy your jersey. Don't trade him. You know what I'm saying? Wow. But because he's asked to be the number 1, and he's not able to live up to that. That's why people I think are killing him. Not understanding like he's not really set to be a number 1.
Right. But that's your perception of him, right? But in the grand scheme of things, how many people are wearing Wes Unseld throwback jerseys? Nobody. Wes Unseld is the same type of player, a 6'8" power forward / center that got, say, average 20 points and 15 rebounds or something like that. Those guys are,
I don't think he even got a 20.
Yeah, maybe like 17 or 15 or something.
17 or 18 or something like that.
Yeah,
he was like one of the worst
MVP ever. Yeah.
If I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong. He got a championship though, don't he?
Yeah, he got a
championship. 77.
He
got the year that won MVP. He was champion, right?
He got a championship.
Wait, no, was he an MVP champion that year too?
I think he might have been.
No, I think he won the MVP one year, and then
I'll look it up.
78
the next year. So it's back to back. Okay, I know
I'm about to say, man.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Jesus, bro.
I'm glad you said it. Like for instance, nobody is giving Ron Artest credit for being great or Ben Wallace credit for being great. When you think about enforcers being the best player on a team or one of the best players, you like, yo, all he do is rebound, and like rebounding is easy. Rebounding is not easy. Now imagine a dude that's leading your team in rebounding and leading your team in 3-point attempts and leading your team in scoring. Usually you get a 3-point shooter is a 3-point shooter. A scorer might be a scorer. A rebounder might be a rebounder. But when you combine all of them together, you don't see that, bro. That's not a thing that you often see. That's why I think Knicks fans don't appreciate him in the moment. But it's one of them things whenever he move on to someone else and you think back to him, you reflect on him and you be like, you know what? I kind of miss Kevin Willis. You know what? I kind of miss Sean Marion. You know what? I kind of miss these guys that did all this work to help.
Anthony Mason.
Yeah.
But Randle's bag is way bigger than those players, though.
I know his handle,
Randle, bro. Randle, you can have Randle bring the ball down. Yeah. He can shoot from 3. He can rebound. Like to me, Randle, I don't look at Randle as an enforcer. I look at Randle as to me, he's a point forward. He's and not taking a shot at Randle, but he like a low budget Scottie Pippen, tall guy, can handle the ball at the 4 position, at the power forward. He can defend the 4. He can defend the 3. I think Randle is. And this is just my opinion on the outside looking in. I think Randle is underappreciated by a lot of New York fans due to expectations they expect from the team.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I mean, you bring in Jalen Brunson,
Right.
has a great season, but correct me if I'm wrong. Randle didn't lose the series by himself.
No.
So for the fans to come out and like rip Randle posted and like, okay, so what? He had a bad game. I mean, shit. Trey Young be having bad games. I ain't finna rip his poster
Jalen
down.
Brown.
Y'all are
Embiid?
putting the elephant in the room though. Like he doesn't do bad games. Like we talking about playoffs. Randall's trash in the playoffs.
Right.
That's how I feel about like.
Yeah,
and
facts.
I think that's why y'all are mad at him. He's the number one, making All NBA second team, All NBA third team, and all. But then in the playoffs, like Jalen Brunson went out for y'all. Jalen Brunson put it all on the line for y'all and was like, "Where's one guy beside me that'll help me out?" His guy that made the All NBA All Star team that probably took his spot wasn't there to help him out, and I think that's why you guys get mad at him. Like,
and name somebody else on the
sense.
Knicks that stepped up though. Name anybody else on the Knicks that stepped up and did.
I mean, what was RJ Barrett at?
Hold up, I'm not disagreeing, but
yeah.
But the thing is that Randall's it's supposed to be in the pecking order. Randall's supposed to be number one. So
Right.
when the number one isn't doing it, and the guy beneath him is the new guy is giving it his all, that becomes the new legend on the block, like Jalen Brunson just did. But you're number one. Like I think now everybody's realizing. I don't think Julius Randle is seen as number one over Jalen Brunson next year anymore. I think in the media and all, they've all changed that. It's all if somebody makes All NBA or makes All Star and is one guy, it'll probably be Jalen Brunson for y'all instead of Julius Randle. And that's my opinion. Looking at it from the inside out, I just think that from the outside in, I just think that Julius Randle just lets you guys down in moments. And for him to do, you see the talent, I guess, like he dribbles the ball, he does the shooting and all, but I feel like he does a little too much. And maybe that's for the coach to try to bring him in and reel him in and say, hey, we need a role for you to do this, because I think dribbling to your left, losing the ball, turnover, like he does a little bit of, we know he's talented. We know he's a high draft pick, but he needs to realize his true role of what he's going to be on the team.
I'm glad you asked that because I have a second question.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the first question was going to go for I didn't know the first question was going to go 66 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I have a second question.
I'll be going by quick, bro.
Yeah, I know. I know, man. And that's why I felt like we had to collab, bro. So my second question, the first part is rhetorical, right? So I'm gonna ask the first part, and then I'm gonna ask the second part for everybody to collect their thoughts. How much does coaching matter? Right? Now, here's the second part of this thing. Does hiring an unbalanced coach, I mean, when I say unbalanced, I mean an all offense coach or all defensive coach, how much does that diminish what the other side of the basketball does? If y'all want to start, how much does Jason Kidd's development philosophy impact how bad the Mavericks defense is?
That's you, bro. I'll let you go first.
Man, that's a great question, bro. Because this is something we've been talking about all year. We talk about the fact that, I mean, I've been talking about this probably since, like I tell Keith all the time, probably since the first 2 weeks of the season with Jason Kidd, right? The fact that I like the one thing I can take away from Jason Kidd as a coach, he's a great developer. Not taking that away from him. I think everybody in Mama knows. I think
we all can agree with that.
Yeah, he's a good developer. That's one thing we can't take from him. The thing that we were having issues with is his X's and O's and his management of the game.
Yes.
X's and O's on what side, though?
Both. Both.
It was offense before, but now it's
it was offense before, now it's defense. And so this is the thing with us, right? Like right now, you know, we had Coach Sweeney, and I guess you could say Kidd too, because Kidd was kind of coaching defense on the sideline. I saw in that Phoenix game, right? So he was kind of coaching the defense too. So we had an appointed guy for the offense.
Right.
We had Igor last year, and then this year we had St. Jean.
Where's Igor at now?
He went to Atlanta. Matter of fact,
good
pickup. Good pickup, man.
Great pickup.
That was a great pickup, man. I've been championing that all year. I've been saying that we should have. I hate that we let him go. But anyway, so we had those two guys as the offense, and our defense struggled too. Now, a lot of that might have to do with the personnel. I know King has been talking about that too. It's been a lot of because of the personnel. Like I said, who are you stopping when you got Dwight Powell in the paint, right? So, you know, for us, this is why I was saying. Like, I know right now the rumor is that we're trying to get our assistant coach rotation down, and I've been saying this. I know we were linked to Vogel as one of our assistants. if he didn't get a head coaching job, he's got the head coaching job at Phoenix or whatever. So we gotta go somewhere else with it. But if he did not get the head coaching job, it was gonna be Vogel. But we all here know Vogel's strength is defense.
Mhm.
So you would have had Jason Kidd, you would have had Sweeney, and you would have had Vogel on the defensive side. Who would have been the offense? Now, y'all don't watch enough Maverick games to know, but I know for a fact me and King don't trust Kidd to call no offenses. You could just go back and watch the whole entire season. This dude was one of the worst coaches when it came out of timeout plays. Yes. I think we got one good out of timeout play, and I think that's the one that Luka missed that layup. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than the whole year. Other than that, this dude has not called not one. And I'm not just saying that because we lost and I was upset at him and all that. I'm being for real. You can go ask the Go Yard this too. Like,
I just want to just throw this out there real quick.
Yeah.
Former NBA players that become head coaches are terrible at the whiteboard, bro.
Yep.
Like the inbound plays.
Well, why is that though?
I don't know.
Because I don't think most of them want to do it. Like Jason Kidd, I don't think wanted to do the whiteboard either. Remember, Rick Carlisle had to change his game up.
I just think they think the talent will take over.
Yep.
Just get the ball in and my star get a shot.
And you know what I think? I think also, I think they think the players can see the game or think the game like they did.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Jason Kidd, you know, we all know he's an all-time great point guard.
Tough, right?
But guess what? 99% of the players is not gonna see the game like a Jason Kidd. That's why you Jason Kidd, you know, I like to call him, you know, part of the 1%ers. You know what I'm saying? Like players, your average player not gonna see the game like Kidd. So Kidd you can't really rely on that, which I think a lot of them do. I mean, bad coaches, they bad executives too. Look at Michael Jordan, greatest of all time, but he can't draft to save his life.
Right.
You can't recognize
Isaiah Thomas.
Huh?
Toronto Raptors.
New York Knicks. Y'all on the clock. Phoenix Suns on the clock. Phoenix Suns got Isaiah down.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, you know, they think the players, just because they're in the NBA, can see the game like they did. You know, maybe that's why some of them stay away from X's and O's. And I mean, look at the Celtics. Joe Mazzulla said the same thing. He relied on Jaylen Brown and Tatum to make the right reads.
Right.
Same thing Nate McMillan said with Trey Young. Right. We run a lot of action based off what the defense gives us, and we rely on Trey Young to make the correct read. So I mean, I haven't played, and I let people know I ain't played basketball at a high level. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I stopped at Red League. Okay, Red League and outside. So it ain't no plays out there. You feel me? So I don't know how much is it normal for teams to really not run set plays like that?
No,
I think it's becoming that now though.
But the thing though with like Kidd, right? Like it's the adjusting part that kind of gets us too, right? If you ought to know, you've been with this team for 2 years now. You ought to know your personnel, right? Like we go back to the fact that you took the White Pal out of the playoff rotation pretty much last year in the playoffs, but then this year you put him in a larger role
over Christian Wood.
You know what I'm saying? Over Christian Wood. Like I'm confused on that, right? Like that's all about the adjustments and stuff like that. It's like this those tiny things that you're not doing.
Trying to get them paid.
Right. He trying to get the White Pal paid. He definitely trying to get Christian
Wood paid because he a free agent too.
Hey, they're gonna retire that man jersey, bro.
So man, listen.
Bro, I told you. Told you gonna retire his jersey.
Man, listen, bro. Man, don't get me started, free.
And he the reason our superstar don't have his real number.
Oh,
you know that?
No,
the White Power was the reason that Luka don't have
he don't have
wanted to be number 7, and the White Power was the reason why he couldn't get 7.
He should have been gone 7 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
I didn't know that.
He was gonna be 7. If y'all stay with y'all,
Atlanta, he'd been 7.
Yeah.
You went at 7.
So Damon, what do you think about that? What do you think? I know this is right in your wheelhouse, bro. I feel like I could ask you this and then just lean back and just let you get into it. But how do you feel like a coach?
No, he's not mad. He's not mad. He's not mad.
How do you feel about a coach that's imbalanced, like a coach that's all defense? How they negatively impact transition defense, rebounding defense, and other aspects of the game, or a coach that's all offense that neglect the other end of the floor, how that impacts the roster? Do you think that may be one of the shortcomings of the Hawks roster as opposed to the talent itself?
I think it's more. I think you need more talent than coaching. I mean, you know, we hired Nate McMillan, who's supposed to be a defensive coach. Okay, we know he know defense because that's what he made his meal ticket off of as a player with the Sonics. You know, as a defensive guy.
Him, DJ Askew, Gary Payton,
yeah, as a defensive guy. But no matter how much knowledge the coach has, at the end of the day, the players got to execute.
Players, hey.
We was one of the worst perimeter defending teams in the NBA, and I used to be on the show, and they, you know, they used to blame everybody, Matt and them, Matt analysts, they come, Nate McMillan, blah blah, and I'm like, and I'm just like, what are you supposed to do, bro? I said, like I tell y'all, you know, when the Hawks come to San Antonio, I go to those games. You know, I always get the same. I'm right behind the bench.
Yeah.
I hear the coach tell these dudes, do A, B, C, and D.
Right.
They go out there and they do the total opposite.
They buffer. They be buffering. They mind be buffering, bro.
So I'm just like,
is that it?
I'm just like, you can have the best coach in the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what the coach need to do, and it's not even much of the I don't think it's more that, and with this current generation of players, I don't think it's the X's and the O's now. I think is you have to be probably more of a communicator than an actual X's and O's guy. You got to know how to get your point through to said player, right? Because you can go get any coach and they can sit there and XO, you do this, but is it getting through to the player? Does the player understand I need you to do this because when you do this, this is the outcome we want to happen.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you need players that like I said, the coaching does matter because like I said, if you can get a coach to get through, and I think that's what a guy like Eric Spoelstra does and Pat Riley, I think they can get through the said players, along with, you know, when you got a guy
when you say get through to them, you don't mean like just in practice. You mean all the time, dispense information. They receive the information and process it and know what to do.
Yeah, so it go back to the point, like I said, with like Jason Kidd, right? Jason Kidd can tell, you know, let's say Luka, he could tell Luka do A, B, C, and D. Is he getting his point across to him? See, Kidd as an elite player, he sees and knows what he wants to happen. Right. But can you be a communicator and get your thought? Can you get your thoughts to come out as the words to the player? Player can take in what you say and see the same thing. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's more being a communicator these days, and I think the X's and O's is probably number 2 because Nate McMillan, I hear him say this stuff all the time. Guys, we got to defend. Guys, you got to do this. You got to do that.
They don't care.
Yeah, does his message get stale after a while?
Right. That's why I would say though. I was going to say that's why I would say the coaching, it does matter, and I'm one that gives Jason Kidd a little more slack than most Mavs fans do. I always am indifferent on Jason Kidd. Like, I don't want him fired. I don't want him to stay. I'm just indifferent. I don't know what it is. But I know that Jason Kidd has that what Devon talks about. Jason Kidd can get through to people, and I don't want to lose that because Jason Kidd, like we always say, is a great developer. I think the issue is the assistant coaches, the help around Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was allowed to choose a whole bunch of ex-players that have no experience and stuff like that to come get their first chance on our squad when he really needed somebody beside him because he lost his job multiple times before. Like he got too much power ahead of time. And what I really want Jason Kidd to do is we need the players around. That's Mark Cuban. Our whole thing goes past the coaching all the way up to the owner because we don't know what's going on because he's not putting the GM in place.
He's not common denominator.
Yep, he's not putting the GM in place, and the GM doesn't put Jason Kidd in place, who doesn't put the team in place. Jason Kidd has a gimmick. He had a defense. He had his run, who made us a top 6 defense last year. Nobody expected that. Nobody's
with
taking
Jalen Brunson and Luka in it. I saw it.
Jalen Brunson's a good defender. I don't think Jalen. I don't know that whole Jalen Brunson's a better defender than Luka right now, unless Luka puts his mind to it. But I just think Jason Kidd has that. It was a gimmick that he had going on. They have to give him the players first before I really make my decision on Jason Kidd. It has to be. I want to see the players that can fit his role of what he wants to do. So I felt like we had decent players last year that he didn't play, but it probably wasn't the players that he wanted. It's a certain type of player that Jason Kidd wants that fits a Jason Kidd type. You got to get him his players, put him around him, and let it work, and then I can make my final decision about Jason Kidd. But I think, like Damon says, he does talk about guys do have to lead guys, and Jason Kidd, I feel like, is a leader. I just think some other things he doesn't do right.
Let me jump in on the coaching thing too. I asked y'all that.
Yeah, because I want to hear your thought. I want to hear your thoughts on Tibbs, man. That's what I want to hear.
So my thing on Tibbs, and my things on a lot of the coaches that we.
Hold on, Freezy. Let me ask you a question. Because you've been doing a lot of question asking. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it real simple. Is Tibbs the guy for the New York Knicks right now, or would you want to see a different coach? Let me rephrase it like this: is Tibbs the guy for the Knicks, or do you think y'all need a different coach to take y'all up another level?
Tibbs is a guy for us right now, but once we get into championship or bust mode, we're going to need another guy because Tibbs is out of balance, right? Because it's the same. It's the same. Like when I watch Hawks a lot. I live in South Carolina, so I watch the Hawks all the time. I watch the Hawks, the Knicks, the Hornets all the time. As a matter of fact, I catch about 3 Hawks games a year. You know what I'm saying? When you know what I'm saying, probably the Knicks and somebody else if I'm there. Right, I watched 3 live. I'm talking about live, like going in Atlanta, down at Hudson's and drinking beer, going to the all that. I do that about 3 times a year. Do Miami, do Orlando, do Charlotte, all of that. Right. My thing is when I watch Atlanta play, right, I know that their previous coaches all have flaws. Right. When I watch Dallas right now, I know Dallas has flaws. Now, when I watch the Knicks, I know that our coach has flaws and blind spots. And matter of fact, I ain't gonna disrespect our coach. I'm just gonna say they have blind spots, right? And what it is like, for instance, when I watch Dallas, I'm like, what is Jason Kidd doing with his personnel? Why does Jason Kidd not see the same thing out of his personnel that everybody else sees, right? And when I watch Atlanta, I'm like, hey, why don't they have back actions and things like that take advantage of because this dude, Trey Young, is the best passer in the league, right? Why don't they have back actions where guys that can't dribble, they don't have to dribble. They can catch the ball in motion going towards the rim. Why they don't do that? Right? And now when I watch Tibbs coach on a nightly basis, I already know Tom Thibodeau don't even care about the offense. Tom Thibodeau, as a football reference, is Buddy Ryan. All defense and nothing else. You know what I'm saying? He like, as long as we don't let them score, we'll win.
Rex
Ryan. Well, it's a sport. Of course we're going to score. Right?
Yeah, probably Rex
my
Ryan,
thing.
yeah.
I know I'm from both of them. He right.
My thing is when I watch the Knicks, I'm like, Jalen Brunson, I already know what the offense is. Now, if I know what the offense is, you ain't going to tell me that Joe Mazzulla, Doc Rivers, Nick Nurse, Jack Vaughn ain't going to know what Tibbs doing too. And I'm just watching on TV. Right? I already know the Knicks are going to come down in the half. Julius Randle's going to get the rebound, come across half. We're going to get into a 3-man weave. That's our pseudo motion offense. Right? They're gonna call Mitch up from the box. He's gonna do a diagonal, come diagonally across the paint, set the screen. Jalen Brunson's gonna turn the corner. Our shooters are not gonna be open because they've been standing in the same spot for 10 seconds. Right? Then Jalen Brunson is gonna ISO. It's not there. They're gonna reverse it to Randle, who's gonna ISO. That's our offense. I know this every game, all game long.
Freezy, y'all have athleticism. Why don't y'all cut all day?
Because the coach wants the secondary guys to be spotted up for outlets, right? As opposed to, because think about this: if you have an Obi Toppin on your team, right, you should be threatening the rim with the lob. If they collapse on the lob, you kick it out to the corner for Emmanuel quickly for 3. This should be a simple, basic. This is basic stuff, right? But we ain't gonna do that. And the Atlanta Hawks do that some too. When they bring in these defensive-minded coaches and they simplify the offense so much that you don't take advantage of guys at, like, for instance, if we had John Collins, shit, man.
I give you Collins for.
Would you use him though?
I give you Collins for Randle right now.
Would you use him like Tobin?
Collins Randle straight up right now,
bro. If we had Jaden Hardy and Josh Green,
no,
yeah, they would be, man. At the end of the game, their tongue would be hanging out their mouth, bro. Tom Thibodeau would play them scoundrels to death on defense.
You know what, Freezy?
You know what I'm
saying? Now that you say that, man, I'm thinking to myself, you might be right. Because how many times, King, we talked about with our offense?
I don't know.
It's like it's
bro. Step back 3 on the wing. Left step back 3.
We talked about the fact that the King looked some numbers up one time, man. And when you put Kyrie and Luka in the pick and roll, the 2-man game together, they were literally unstoppable. But Luka, we didn't do it enough.
With Luka as the ball handler, I'll let you know the numbers. With Luka as the ball handler, they were almost getting you 2 points per possession. That's a bucket each time he has the ball.
Each time you do it.
That's past elite. That's unheard of type numbers.
Right. That's the video game type.
But didn't do it enough though.
When Kyrie had it, we averaged 1.6, which is still elite.
Right.
Didn't do it. They're like 30 times in the whole time they played.
Right.
I was watching Dirk highlights, and it was showing him and Terry in the 2-man game.
Yep.
Just eating that sucker up.
Just eating it up.
Just eating it up, man. Like, we don't do it. I don't, man.
The pick and roll with back action was created to kill these stout man-to-man defenses.
Yep.
Right? But to King's point, man, if you're doing it at 1.38 possessions a game, that's elite. Y'all doing it at 1.6? Y'all should have ran it. Man, y'all should have ran that the whole game.
Oh,
this is what we've been talking about.
And when you're doing it close to 2, when you're doing it close to 2 and only do it 30 times, that coach need to be fired.
Bruh, he did it. He almost 2 points per possession. He did it 30 times between the time they was there, man.
Right.
This is why I've been saying that's why I said we need an offensive-minded assistant coach, a real one.
And when I watched Atlanta in person we went to Atlanta on a Saturday night, right? He was in Atlanta on Saturday night, ABC game, everybody there, you know what I'm saying? Knicks versus Hawks. Oh, Ice Tree, all these things, you know, ABC do to build up the game and all that stuff, right? I'm out there. I called Trey Young, Trey the Barge for like 2 straight hours. It's Trey the Barge, get Trey the Barge. You know what I'm saying? Just because as Knicks fans, you know, we gotta, you know. But the thing is, when I saw the Hawks offense, I could see Trey Young turn the corner and look, and the dude was in the passing lane. Like, we got RJ in the passing lane looking at Trey Young like, throw it. Yep. He can't even throw the pass because the cats on the opposite side, they don't even relocate when Trey Young move around the court. Like, why are y'all spotted up when y'all can't shoot? If you're not a shooter, why you spotting up?
Because the coach tell him do that. But see, that's why I say, man, like, I believe that, and I'm just speaking, you know, about my Hawks. I believe that, you know, some of our players, how can I say this? I think they're like John, prime example, like John Collins, right? I think John Collins, and I've said it on the show, so I'll say it here. I think he's a company guy. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, he gonna do exactly what the coach tell him. If the coach say come down and you stand in that corner, he gonna stand in that corner. It's been plenty of times, like y'all said, when Collins is in the corner, you got Hunter on the wing, where Trae is attacking. You know, he calling Capella for the pick and roll, and I be sitting there, I be like, how come Collins just don't run the baseline? It's wide open.
Just run it to you. Yep.
I'm like, why you don't do that? And
it's not like you know what I know everybody.
And the reason I say that is because, you know, like when you playing outside, right, or pick up ball, like, no one tells you to do certain things. Like, you know, when you playing, you know, like if the dude guarding you, you know if you better than him.
Right.
So you already know like where your mismatch. Like, so if you taller than the guy, you already know. Soon I'll come down. I'm just gonna go in the paint, throw me the ball.
Right.
But for some reason, with our players, they're a bunch of company guys. So
Hey, I'll be right back, y'all.
they
I
don't
got a dog in the living room.
they don't like what you call it. When you kind of just freelance some stuff on your own, like you got to play, but you know
They don't improvise.
Yeah, like they don't improvise when it makes sense, when it's there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that always bugged me about today's. I can only speak on the Hawks because, you know, I mainly just watch the Hawks, but you know, and I wish we could do that. You know what I'm saying? I wish the players would do that.
They're too professional, you're saying. Basically, like, you know, when we on the court, you trying to get the ball and score. You don't care who's out there. You want the ball in your hand. You want to go make a bucket, so guys will give you the ball more or whatever.
Right.
When they're playing, they're being professional. So it's like, you know, you don't want to step on egos because John Collins can't go get you 30 a game. Trey Young, not saying that Trey shouldn't be getting you. I'm just saying, like, we have pecking orders when you playing for professional sports. So I think sometimes they have to. You got to take a chance. Like some players, you got to be a professional, but at the same time, you got to get your numbers. You got to protect both sides. And sometimes you be like John Collins. You could be a star type player if you just ran around and just caught lobs and just out of nowhere, just Amari Stoudemire type. You feel me? Just be seen and be able to catch a ball and dunk the ball. But
yeah, like you know what, King, John Collins is a prime example, right? Like you shooting, the coach wants you to shoot the threes.
Mm-hmm.
But you already know it's March. You shooting 29% from three for the year, but you know you shoot way better from mid range.
Yep.
So even though the coach want me to shoot threes, like you said, King, I'm gonna be a professional and keep shooting the threes at 29%. I'm not gonna say I'm going right here to my spot. Yep. Because I know I can hit this shot. And like you said, King, when they see me, like it's like what Dominique said, feed them and fan them. When you get to your spot and you hitting them shots, like you said, they gonna give them the ball more there. But for some reason,
if it works, keep doing it.
Let me keep shooting these threes at 29% because the coach told me to stand right here. And I'm just it blows my mind. So, you know, King, it's like this. What's more important, being professional or winning the game?
There you go.
You know what, though, Damon? Y'all got Igor now. I got Igor now, so that's gonna help with that offense.
Yeah. Do I step on somebody's toes, but we're winning?
You got to sometimes, i.e. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, or do I step back and we losing? I'm looking bad because everybody, you know, they on me because I'm shooting 29%, but what they don't know, the coach telling me to keep shooting the three. It's just crazy to me, man.
I was always told to look out for yourself. You never want to down anyone else, but you always got to look out for yourself. And John Collins should be putting himself in the right positions where he could be seen as the type of player he wants to be seen as. That's how
a lot of that had to do too, man. Y'all took him out of position when y'all got Capella.
But at least y'all don't got Tim Hardaway Jr. though, where your coach tells him to keep shooting. When he shouldn't be shooting and says, you know
shout out the Knicks for taking Tim Hardaway Jr. off our hands with that big contract. We appreciate that.
Oh, we always do Atlanta favors, bro. we always looking at. We always
don't do us no favors.
Just like we do y'all favors, right?
Yeah.
Just like we appreciate that, man. We appreciate y'all taking Tim Hardaway Jr. off our hands. Shout out Coach Bud. Coach Bud got a lot of them boys paid, man. Jamari Carroll.
All on board. Let me ask y'all. I got one last question I wanted to ask. Man, time be flying, bro. But I got one last question to ask. Right, just before we, you know, can a front office ruin a good basketball product? I want to ask Damon that first because I started with the Dallas guy. Did I start with the Dallas guys on the last question?
You can start with them because you know my answer gonna be long. But I can tell you right now, yes. And we experiencing it firsthand right now.
By committee.
Yeah. I was gonna sum it up right here, King. 2011.
Oh wow.
2011 is that same right after. What team do y'all guys know? I want y'all to tell me since we're sitting here. Won the championship and then broke up their team after they won a championship.
Oh man.
Give me another example other than 2011 Dallas Mavericks.
I don't
Take your
know
time.
because we ain't won a championship in 50 years, so I wouldn't know what that feeling is like.
When you won the championship, did you get rid of Walt Frazier? In there?
No,
Interesting. Okay.
no.
How about back in the 70s when Atlanta got theirs, right? Did y'all get rid of y'all team?
We ain't win no championship in the 70s.
That wasn't the 70s. Y'all ain't won one in the 70s. Y'all got one in the 70s, I thought.
They won in the 50s.
Subtract 20 years.
Yeah, they won. They won in 57.
We weren't even in Atlanta. We was in St. Louis.
Did y'all get rid of y'all team back then?
Yeah,
I wasn't born.
yeah.
I wouldn't think y'all did it though. So
I bet they
as I
probably did.
said, give me some other team other than the 2011 Dallas Mavericks where you won a championship and got rid of your whole team. Talking about we built it for the future.
I thought didn't Mark Cuban say y'all was trying to like do like a quick reload because y'all was old? I thought that's what wasn't that the whole game plan behind that?
We were looking for Darren Williams or Dwight Howard.
And didn't get him.
Didn't get nobody. Instead of you having a championship squad that just had one of the best championship runs ever. We're not going to talk about the teams they beat as far as running through. And you said, I'm going to get rid of Steve Nash.
Bro, Dirk.
I got to just
he swept Kobe. Y'all swept Kobe.
Swept Kobe 5 on OKC with all they guys there.
KD and Westbrook and beat the
hard.
big three. But
And
that's
James
a run
Harden.
right.
James Harden was there too.
That's a run right there, bro. That's a run. Dirk. I mean, Dirk was hooping that year, dog. He was on another level.
Hey, and just in case we get together again, I just want to throw this question at y'all. I'm maintaining the question we at right now, but in case we get together again, this is a question for y'all. How come teams like ours can't draw major free agents? That's just something to think about. You know, if we ever get together again. But the question on the floor is, can a front office ruin a good basketball product?
Yeah, ours got ruined. Led by Tony Wrestler. That's why we're in the situation we're in right now. You hired Travis Sling. Give me 3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes. Let me break it down for y'all real quick. So we hired Bud leaves because we about to blow it up. You get Tony Wrestler, the new owner. We hired Travis Sling. Travis Sling come in. First thing he do is clean house. Traded Dwight Howard. Let Millsap leave. He reset the whole thing. Okay, so we reset. You draft Trey Young. We rolling. The worst thing ever. Tony D. Wrestler, the owner. I guess he thought he knew more basketball than Travis Sling.
You said Mark Cuban? Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I think you said Mark Cuban. I'm sorry, go ahead. My bad. We on our way back to the lottery. This is Trey Young year 2. No, year 3, excuse me. We on our way back to the lottery, as we should be with Lloyd Pierce as the coach. Right. Travis Link steps in. Tony Wrestler called Travis Link and says, fire Lloyd Pierce because we should be winning more games right now. Travis Link didn't want to do it, but he ends up firing Lloyd Pierce anyway. Nate McMillan takes over. Nate McMillan really didn't want to take over the team. But he took it over. We go 27-11. We make the run to the conference finals. At that time, that December, Travis Link offered John Collins 4-year, $90 million contract. John Collins turned it down. John Collins was looking for something over $100 million. Travis Link didn't think he was worth that. But fast forward, Tony Wrestler thinks John Collins in the offseason, because we made that run, is part of the core. So he the one that gives John Collins the 125 over 5. Not Travis Link, right? So that's the first mistake right there. How do we know that's a mistake? Because then when the season start next year and we under 500 again, the GM Travis Link, I've never heard a GM do this. He went on the flagship radio station 92.9 The Game and said, "Hey, there's some people we probably shouldn't have brought back. You the general manager. Right. If you made those moves, I'm sure you wouldn't go on radio and say that." Right. So then that told me he's not calling that, because at first I was like, oh, he's trying to call out the players. But then when all the front office stuff hit the fan, I'm like, this whole time he was calling out the ownership.
Yeah.
Saying they don't want, because he didn't want to give Collins that money. Tony Wrestler wanted to give him that money. Okay, let's fast forward. Another mess up by the front office. So Tony Wrestler, who's never paid the luxury tax since he owned the Hawks in 5 years, right? Once again, last year didn't want to do it. So what did he do? He trades off Kevin Huerter just to get below the tax. Not because we got DeJounte Murray. He traded Kevin Huerter. It was a money move. They went on the radio and said it. We get below the tax, right?
Right.
Kevin Huerter, a 40% three-point shooter. Guess what happened? We start the year. We the second worst three-point shooting team in the league. What the front office do? Hey, we gonna give up 5 second-round picks to go get Sadiq Bey. But guess what? Now you're gonna have to get Sadiq. You got to extend Sadiq Bey now. Yeah. Where that money gonna come at? Then hold up. This the worst one. We trade for DeJounte Murray. This whole time, I thought Travis Slinck was behind the deal. So I'm like, one thing I know about Travis, he don't overpay for nothing. And his moves never leak. He never overpays. He ain't never lost a trade as a Hawks basketball president. So I'm like, okay, if Travis think give up 2 unprotected firsts and a pick swap is good, I'm all for it. Come to find out, he was the only one in the front office who said, don't do it.
Right.
So we do it. Now look where we at. 40. We could have went 41-41 without DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
It still had our picks. Now we don't got no picks. We got this year, we don't got 25, 26 a pick swap. We don't got 27. Now, at the end of the season this year, we above the cap. The owner not gonna pay luxury tax for a 41-41 team.
Why should he?
Exactly. But guess what? He let Travis Slinck leave. Well, I believe Travis Slinck resigned.
Yeah, quit. Yeah,
because Nick Wrestler and Landry Fields. Nick Wrestler's the owner's son.
Right.
Landry Fields is a GM who ain't never.
That's gonna be his team one day. One day that's gonna be
nothing. He never done nothing at the NBA level. Okay, nothing. Never succeeded. He thinks that those two is better than having a guy who helped build the Golden State Warriors. Right? Now, I'm not saying Travis Slinck was the mastermind, but he was an assistant GM.
But you knew he was trying to build that way when he drafted Huerter and Trey Young.
Yeah, and if we would have just stuck with the plan,
right,
we would be we may not be a championship contender, but one thing Travis always did for us, he kept us flexible.
Right.
So guess what? Maybe when a Kevin Durant becomes available, now he may not want to come to Atlanta, but we can at least kick the tires on it. Hey, we got assets over here.
You can pick up the phone.
Right.
Now we can't do nothing.
You drafted Hunter as a Harrison Barnes type guy. Yeah.
Now you got to extend the Kongwu this year. You got to extend Sadiq Bey or let him leave, giving up the 5 first-round picks. And you gonna have, and Murray has all the leverage. We can't even afford to let the dude leave because then we done lost Murray and 3 picks.
Yes.
All because the front office, and not even Travis Slinck, because the front office they don't have patience, one, and they don't want to listen to the guy who is supposed to be the basketball expert. We want to listen to Landry Fields ain't never done nothing.
Right.
Nick Wrestler has no NBA executive experience.
Right.
If I'm the owner and I want my son, you're going to own this team one day. My son would have been the assistant to Travis Slinck.
Right.
I'd have been like, Travis, start my son. I don't care if you got to get you coffee. He need to learn every aspect of the executive. Why would I listen to my son and he don't have no NBA experience? He might want to listen to me.
He 27, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, and he got like 25 or something.
Real estate guy, man.
Yeah.
Who you talking about, Landry Fields or
no Wrestler?
He he went to school in real estate, man.
Yeah.
Now he an NBA executive.
Yeah.
We listening to him.
I'll answer the question and I'll answer the question in questions, Uncle Freezy. I got another question for y'all. I just told y'all about the championship team. Let me ask y'all this.
All right.
What team y'all know, right, when they don't have a GM and a head coach? Which one do you hire first?
Oh, that's easy.
Supposed to hire the GM.
That's
easy. Say what now? You said pull hire who?
Hire the GM.
What you say, Freeze?
The Knicks did that before. And we wound up taking Kenny Skywalker in the draft.
Oh my God. Listen,
Man,
man.
I'm so mad at that. How you going? Hey, they didn't have a GM, right? So they just picked some. Hey man, what you doing for lunch? Man, I was gonna go. Now, hey, don't do that, man. Just go over here and pick these dudes out the draft.
Freezer, we had a Mavs beat writer on our show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, y'all big, bro. I'm jealous.
And he I asked him this question. I said, "Yo, do the Mavericks have a definitive pecking order on who makes the decisions?" Because I don't know if you remember. I don't know if y'all remember this. It was about 4 years ago, King, when we had Bob O'Garis, and we were so dysfunctional.
You talking about the gambler?
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy. Listen, our front office was so dysfunctional that when people called for trades and all that stuff, they did not know who to talk to. Do y'all remember that we were in the running to trade with Miami during I want to say it was a 2019 draft, I believe. So the Miami front office called the Mavericks front office, and they talked to two different people. It was Bob Voulgaris, and it was Donnie Nelson at the time.
Right.
One of them wanted Dragic in the trade. The other wanted Derrick Jones Jr. and Kelly Olynyk. That matter of fact, it was during the draft that night. During the draft, they talked about that. Talking about, they didn't know who to talk to. We looking bad on national television. Looking like idiots. It's embarrassing, bro. It's like,
yeah, I had a reception.
Woes them talking about us like, yeah, they didn't know who to talk to and this and that. And I'm just like,
we were Adidas.
Doing? So yeah, pretty much. The dude like on the movie.
We were Adidas.
But, so this is the thing, man. We always talk about this. That's why you hear me say common denominator. We have these same issues under Donnie. Now you're having these same issues with Mark Cuban. And it looks like what Mark Cuban doing, kind of like what you saying, your ownership, Damon. Mark Cuban, we talked about this before. It seemed like he's hiring a bunch of yes men. Because can't nobody tell me out of that group of people that we have right now in our front office who is the basketball guy.
Right. Yeah.
We had a basketball guy. I hate I'm blanking on this man's name right now. We had a basketball guy that came from Houston. Matter of fact, he just got picked up by another team. I told Kingdom yesterday. He got picked up by another team. The dude was in our franchise for 1 week.
1 week, bro.
He said he looked around, was like, "Nah, I can't do this.
Walked away.
I'm out of here."
Yep.
He was gonna be our GM.
They don't talk about
Matter
it
of fact,
enough.
he worked with Daryl Morey and stuff like that. He was friends with Daryl Morey. He, you know what I'm saying? He had the pedigree of putting an organization and all that type of stuff together, right?
Right.
Came over here, looked around to see how things were running. Nah, I'm not down with this. I'm out of here.
Hey, Real and King, I got a question for y'all. Did y'all what was y'all front office opinion on Rick Carlisle leaving? I mean, he was a championship coach.
They didn't want him to leave. They wanted to give him more.
They wanted him to be Nico.
Nico, yeah, they wanted him to move up.
Oh,
yeah.
But him and Luka were like not into it. So he thought I wanted to leave and give him somebody else.
Yeah.
That's around the time when Donnie got fired and Bob O'Garis.
Wait, say that one more time, King. I didn't hear that.
He resigned because they wanted to give him the GM role basically, but him and Luka were like clashing because Luka didn't like the way he was treating people on the court. And a lot of people don't like the way Rick. I think that's the reason why we don't get free agents. We didn't for a long time is because of Rick Carlisle.
Also, that issue between Luka and Rick Carlisle was serious.
Yeah, because of Dennis Smith Jr. He treated Dennis Smith Jr. horribly.
Oh yeah, they did him dirty. Yeah,
they did him horrible. So, and we see how Dennis Smith Jr. is now.
Yeah,
he's over there, a lockdown defender.
Yeah.
So
he was just raw coming out of school, coming off an injury. They just needed time.
Rick Carlisle,
these 19-year-olds, bro, they need time.
It's point guards, man. In general, like that's why him and Rondo clashed.
Yep, him and Jason Kidd.
Clashed. Like one of the reasons why we won that championship the way we played during that championship run. It's because Rick Carlisle finally let Jason Kidd do it. Jason Kidd was like damn near 40 years old. He's been in the league for like 19 years or whatever it was at that time.
Almost
like, let the man do his job.
Like,
you know, like he don't need you holding his hand down the court. He knows what he's doing. They let him do his job. And so when he finally did that, we end up getting a championship. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with the organization, man. We always talk about this before. We don't know who to ask or who to talk to or who to get. Who's making these moves, right? Like with us, we already know. If I say common denominator, it's Mark Cuban, because we're having the same issues we had under Donnie Nelson regime that we're having right now with Nico and them. We talk about the Christian Wood thing. Freezy, you heard me talk about this many times on your show. I know some of your people asked me this question. You gave up a first round pick for this guy,
right?
And you did not use him properly, right? You'd rather take his minutes, majority of his minutes,
and then you give it to the White Pal or Maxi Kleber or whoever, right?
Mhm.
The fact that you got this guy who's one of the most efficient guys in the league, this guy can get you. Yeah, he can get you. He can get you like 20 and 9 if you gave him 30 minutes a game.
Right.
The thing was, he wouldn't get 30 minutes a game.
He went out best defenders too, Freezy. Don't get it twisted.
He's in that stretch. The stretch of 20 and 9.
One of our best defenders on our team. Yes, he was.
Wow.
When he was going through that stretch when we were going winning 8 in a row or 7 in a row or whatever,
right.
He was starting getting 20 and 10 and 2 blocks. He was getting more blocks per game than even street clothes was getting as a Maverick and all that. He was killing it. And then they let him go when Maxi and him came back. It was like, oh, we waiting for Maxi Kleber. Christian got hurt, I think it was.
He ended up getting hurt. Mavs get the Hawks. He hurt his hand.
And then they set him out. But I'm actually, I got one more question for y'all. Chris Broussard is getting crucified right now on Twitter because of what? Anybody y'all know?
Because he said Jokic is he ranked Jokic higher than Dirk.
It's not just that.
Dirk is
overrated.
Overrated, right?
Yeah.
Dirk has 1 championship in 2011. The reason that Dirk is being seen that way, I tell Rel and them all the time on the show. The reason why Dirk is seen that way, like Chris Broussard is yelling, because of Mark Cuban. Right. Mark Cuban thinks that 1 championship is success. That's a failure. Dirk should have won way more than that 1 championship.
I mean, but to y'all credit, to Dirk's credit, I mean, the West when Dirk played was hard, bro. The West
nobody remembers that.
The West was no joke.
Demond, it's like the reason why King is saying that is because we had opportunities, right, to advance in the playoffs, but we also had opportunities to better our roster around Dirk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dirk took so many pay cuts toward the back half of his career. Why? Because Mark Cuban was like, oh, I probably gonna get somebody around you, but then you sign OJ Mayo. Yeah. I'm taking a pay cut to sign Chandler Parsons. Yeah. I'm taking a pay cut to sign Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I don't know why y'all signed Chandler Parsons, bro. That was a heist right there.
Yeah, he was washed in Memphis.
He put on a ski mask on that one.
He was he came from Houston from us.
Yeah, he was us. Yeah, he came from Houston. Then he went to Memphis.
I think most folks, most even casuals, can name Tim Duncan's teammates. Most of his teammates, the guys that are known. Even Kobe Bryant. Other than that run where he was going off of 36 a game and all that stuff, if you go to Shaq era or you go to Paul Gasol era, you can name his teammates, right? Most casuals not naming the Mavericks teammates after Steve Nash, that little run. Until then, they may throw you a Jason Kidd. Some of them may throw Jason Terry and a JJ Barea if they really know. Some of them may say Josh Howard. I don't even know. People forgot about Josh Howard, but you can't name his players. That's an indictment.
Play for the Mavs.
That's it. He did. He helped us win a championship. Thank you. But I say casuals, Uncle. I don't call you a casual freak.
Okay.
I've said most casuals, but I'm saying as far as like most guys don't know those guys because Mark Cuban failed Dirk Nowitzki.
But you know what? I also think that Chris Broussard, I think he just living in a moment. Because to me, and it's just the way I rank.
He said Charles Barkley and them better than him. He gave a lot of guys, old guys, saying they better than Dirk.
Well, I mean, let's see. I don't put Jokic. Jokic is not better than Dirk to me. I mean, Jokic is a great player, but I think Dirk's championship to me is like I say about LeBron's championship in Cleveland. Like, bro, Dirk is the only player to ever sweep Kobe Bryant in the playoffs.
Yep.
I think that's a prime Kobe.
Yep. I say prime, not 38, 39.
This ain't Kobe after he messed up his Achilles. He swept a prime Kobe.
Phil Jackson.
Right.
And beat the big three, who was the hottest thing since sliced bread back then. Yep. And then they tried to finesse it, talking about what did Broussard say? He said, oh, LeBron choked. It don't matter if LeBron choked.
It don't matter if he choked.
Dirk still had to execute. And it seemed like Dirk couldn't even miss during that playoff run.
Dirk choked in 2007. Sorry, Rel. Didn't Dirk choke in 2007 the last year?
When y'all won that 63?
Didn't he choke in 2006? Yeah. Why that doesn't matter? So Miami Heat's championship don't matter because Dirk choked supposedly.
Nah, man.
And I was gonna say this too in the playoffs too. If it's like you said, Demond, you're living in your prisoner of the moment because we're not gonna remember the years that Jokic wasn't even the best guy on his team in the playoffs. It was Jamal Murray was one carrying him. dropping on 50 points back to back and all that type of stuff.
the
We're not gonna
bubble,
talk about that.
Bubble
When have you ever seen Jason Terry outscore Dirk in a playoff series?
And you know, what? Even if Jokic win his championship, man, he ain't beating no Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
no, he didn't. I give him the credit though.
No,
I'm not.
I give him the credit, but when we comparing, like, because Jokic, I believe Jokic is gonna get his first title this year. So
they got hardware.
But when I'm comparing the grind, like I said, Dirk went through Wade, LeBron, Bosh. That's 3 Hall of Famers on one team. Kobe Bryant, that's a top 3 player of all time. And I forgot who y'all beat.
Kevin Durant.
You don't forget Paul
Durant.
Yeah,
because next year they was in the finals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Right.
They was in the finals next year. So you beat 3 up and coming Hall of Famers compared to what Denver went through this year. And I understand because I don't think Dirk has won an MVP.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
They gave me 67 games.
Okay.
We lost.
So I mean, I don't think right now. I'm just saying right now, I don't have Jokic higher than Dirk on my list of power forwards or wherever you want to place.
Bigs.
Yeah, we just talk bigs, however you want to label it in today's NBA. But yeah, I heard what Broussard said. I think he just caught up in he just a prisoner, which is funny because he didn't pick Denver to win no damn championship at the beginning of the season.
He didn't.
Yeah,
and
plus you can't give the microphone to a light skinned dude, bro. They'll say anything.
On, man.
You light skinned.
What?
I know, right? He is like
you light skinned, Freezy. What you talking about?
Look, man. Look, my thing is, I don't really care that he had Jokic over Dirk. It's the disrespect of Dirk.
Yeah, the disrespect.
That's the part that got me.
I want to
like, you know, I told King this too about the whole. Like he had also said KG. Now I know I'm probably gonna say something that's not popular, bro. I still think Dirk is better than KG. I know you probably say it because I'm a Mavs fan.
Nope.
But I can line both of their careers up, and Dirk is killing them in numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like in every statistical category or whatever, right? The fact that Dirk head to head was killing KG. The fact that it took KG going to a stacked team to finally get a ring, and you weren't even a number 1 or number 2 option, you were the 3rd option on your team, and you couldn't even get your team out the first round until 2004 or whatever when they went to the West Conference Finals or whatever. And so other than that, it was either you're not going to the playoffs or you was first round exits. And people can't say, because he had a team. We just told you a minute ago who would Dirk took. Can anybody tell me who Antoine Wright is?
No.
Oh, okay. That was his starting guard one of the years he went to the playoffs and took them to the second round.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So we can't say he didn't have a team or whatever. Yeah, Dirk, it was a lot of years.
I remember when they had Brendan Haywood. Was Brendan Haywood still on that team?
Brendan Haywood
that was in
right before Tyson Chandler.
2011, 2012.
He was a starter right before Tyson Chandler. Then we got Tyson Chandler.
That was that Washington Wizards trade. Then we got Tyson Chandler next year. But yeah,
man.
I don't think that the issue is. So I'm gonna keep it real. At the end of the day, I don't think who you play gonna matter because at the end of the day, it's gonna be Joker having 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP, a championship, and his numbers. I don't think that's going back to what it's going to be and who he played against going to really matter in the future. So I have no problem about like Joker or like a Giannis. I can see Giannis and Joker at some point. They're already close enough, being better than Dirk. Like it's you count for hardware. Hardware matters. Yeah. They already have 2 MVPs. Yeah, that's not the issue. Dirk has 1, and then a championship already. If Joker gets his, they'll both have 1 championship. If you get more than that, you're better than Dirk. It is what it is. I have no problem. I still think it's Mark Cuban problem. Let
me do this real quick, King, because we running up against the clock, man. You know what I'm saying? The missus has her wrist.
Go ahead. I
swipe the debit card. So the ladies have to stretch before they wear out the debit card on Saturdays. You know what I'm saying? So, but let me ask you this, just real quick. If we can keep the answers as short as or as contrite as possible, which team of this 3 do y'all feel like has the brightest future going forward? From today going forward, which team has the brightest future? Rel, if you want to start, then we'll just go around the horn.
Ooh, that's hard.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I can't really answer that question because with the new CBA, it's going to be interesting to see how people start building their teams.
Okay. I don't go ahead. No, go ahead. I didn't know you were done.
No, I was just going to say, like, so it's kind of hard to determine who's going to be what, you know what I'm saying, until, like, we see what happens. Matter of fact, I think a lot of it's going to determine what happens during the draft. Not who we draft or whatever, but how teams are going to assemble their teams depending on, with this new CBA or whatever. That's going to dictate how people start positioning their teams. Because we're starting to hear a lot of people, like Damon was saying earlier, are going to start trimming some of the roster down because they're trying to get back under a certain threshold of the cap or whatever, right? So that's going to affect your team going forward, whether it's good or bad or whatever. So I can't really say right now because of the new CBA. If it was the old CBA, I probably can give you an answer, but because of the new CBA and us still trying to understand what the CBA is or how it works, I'm not even sure.
I don't know what to say. I'm kind of like Rel. I think we all got our issues. I don't know who fixed them first. I think the Mavericks have the star or the stars. So that's like, that's important. We always think players matter. So I would say that for us, but I don't trust Mark Cuban.
That's why I kind of want to lean to that. Yeah.
With the Knicks, you guys have the appeal of the market, just being New York, and you also got the point guard now. You got JB, who I think is going to be a legendary. I think already he's a New York legend off after 1 year. That's wild. But I think y'all have that one, so y'all will be fine. It just depends on, again, if y'all make the right moves and all. And the same thing with Atlanta. They got a Trey Young. They got a team. They got, I think, a couple guys. I like DeJounte Murray. I wanted DeJounte Murray.
Atlanta young core is sneaky.
Yeah, but I just think they need to find out. This might be y'all year, Damon. Like, for real, y'all got new pieces now. You got Quinn Snyder for a whole year.
Yeah, let Quinn Snyder have his system in there.
Yep. You got Igor now being the offensive guy. Like, I think y'all should be fine. Like, I think y'all may not be a championship level contender, y'all, but y'all not going to be bottom of the barrel, I think, this year. I think y'all will be in the lineup of being out of the play-in.
If they get a shooter for Eagles offense, if they get a 40% shooter in Eagles offense, Atlanta might be a Eastern Conference finalist
person. Yep.
Right. Because they got all the other requisite parts, but in my opinion, the parts don't match because they're missing a certain thing. It's like how the recipe needs some seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't gonna cut them. So who you got, man? Who you think has the brightest future going forward?
I think the Knicks have a pretty good. Y'all been begging for a point guard. You got
one, yeah, finally.
Which I think he should have been the All NBA player instead of Randle. Nah. So you got the scoring guard.
Y'all got draft picks too, Freezy.
You got the point guard. Y'all got your picks. You got young talent. Y'all actually younger than us. You got with the young RJ Barrett, Grimes. You got a big and Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
You got which I don't know if Mitch happy or not, but he's still a young big.
Yeah.
But for us, listen, I have my own expectation for the Hawks. I think we could win 50 games. But would I put money on it? No. Right. I thought we were gonna win 50 games last year. You saw how that turned out.
We did too.
60.
So but I think the Knicks have the best upside because I think y'all front office, you got Dolan, who I know Knicks fans they get upset with him, but to his credit, I mean, let's be real.
He doesn't
spend money. You spent it on the wrong players, like a Fournier, and trying to turn dudes into guards, a point guard like
Derrick Rose.
That Fournier again.
Giving Derrick Rose bag at 34.
Dolan ain't cheap. The Knicks, when the last time the Knicks was hovering around the bottom of the payroll? The Knicks spend money now.
Yeah,
okay. I give Dolan that, and I think with you got Worldwide West. I think y'all got a solid front office.
Right.
Y'all didn't. And here's an example of the Knicks having a solid front office. You didn't fall for Danny Ainge tricks to go get Donovan Mitchell, even though every Knicks fan go get Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
Mainstream media go get Mitchell. So I got to tip my cap for the front office standing their ground and not falling like Minnesota did, giving up all them assets for Gobert. Right. Y'all say, you know what? Let's address a need. What do we need? A point guard. Y'all went and got Jalen, regardless if Brunson, regardless if it's if he had what is his dad on the Knicks or something like that. Regardless of his dad being there, it's the fact that y'all front office say, you know what? We would love a Donovan Mitchell. Okay. It will be a good splash
Right.
But what do we need? What have we been begging for all this time? Just like the Hawks, a point guard, a good point guard, playoff proven,
right,
is available, and y'all went and got him. So that's two pieces right there. So to me, in my opinion, y'all really running with two All NBA players, in my opinion.
Okay.
So now it's just a matter of fact. I think once y'all get rid of Tibbs, and I think y'all probably need to get, like I said, get a coach who can connect. Like I said, that communication can connect with a guy like a Randle, who can almost like how a Phil Jackson was more like a cerebral coach to his stars.
Right.
If y'all can get a coach who can connect with a Randle on that higher level, okay, get Randle out of that caveman upset mentality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think Tibbs is the guy for y'all. I think once y'all get rid of Tibbs and upgrade that, I think once y'all upgrade the coaching,
right,
and who can bring all that young talent in and get them come in quickly, Grimes, Mitch, RJ, all those dudes they correct me if I'm wrong, they all under like 24 years old.
Yeah, we 25 and under. Our starters average age is 24 and a half. The roster age is 27, and it's only because we got Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier on the roster. If we didn't have them on the roster dragging our age up some, you know what I'm saying, then we would be probably the youngest team in the NBA. But what I would say though, what I would say to that point is this, that I believe probably the team with the highest upside right now is Atlanta, and it's Atlanta because they have the hardest pieces to find, the easiest pieces to find, the guys that could just shoot. I think you can find those. Those are more. For instance, you're not going to find 6'8" defenders that can do that. The jack of all trades, kind of like a Hunter who doesn't display it all the time, but it's there. Like when you saw Hunter in that Celtics series. Like, I think it was, what game was that? Was that game 3? I think it was. What game was that when Hunter showed off against Tatum and Brown? Was that game 3?
Might have been, but you know what? His better playoff was against Miami. He averaged 21 in that closeout game. That game 6 against Miami last year.
Right.
He went for 35. I think that was his best.
But why we don't get that all the time?
Because he can't dribble.
Oh.
So if you notice, he can't dribble. I think last year was his first year playing 70 games because his knees, which I put that on the Hawks, some of that on the Hawks training staff. But if you notice, he can't. One thing Hunter doesn't do, if you notice, he don't do two things for a small forward. He don't rebound. Trey Young averaged more rebounds than he did last year.
Wow.
And he doesn't attack the baskets, so he doesn't get to the free throw line. So that's one thing and I think maybe him not getting to the basket is a combination of his limited handling skills, and I think his knees has taken away from some of that first step explosion that you need, especially if you ain't got that good handle, that Kyrie Irving handle, and you need that explosiveness to get past somebody on that first step. I think his knees don't allow him to. That's why he do the same thing. If you notice, he'll either shoot a 3 or he gonna dribble, get to that free throw line, he gonna pull up for the mid range. He do the same thing all the time.
Right. So okay. All right. So let me do this. Thank you everybody for coming through and rocking with us. We're trying to keep it under 2 hours, but you know what I'm saying, when you talking to cats that got a full clip, a timeline don't mean nothing when cats got a full clip. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. Let me say this to the We Talk Hawk fans. Thank you for allowing us to occupy y'all space for a little bit. We Talk Hawk fans, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel that you watching, and continue to give us feedback as we continue to do more things during the summer. The We Talk Mavs fans, thank you for letting me and Demond occupy y'all space. You know what I'm saying, to talk basketball, talk that talk the way that y'all like to have that talk to y'all. Ensure you subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Blorange Tears, thank y'all, man. Y'all the best. Thank y'all for rocking with us. As you know what I'm saying, we do a family reunion, have everybody over talking that talk. Y'all know what it is. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. Guys, y'all want to say something before we get out of here?
I just want to say there's a universe where all of our teams in the conference finals next year. There really is. It's a universe, and we may pass it. It may not happen, but there is a universe for all of our teams in the conference finals next year.
Mm-hmm. Right. You want to say something before we get out of here, bro?
All I gotta say is, hey, listen up, family. I don't know about like Knicks fans, but I know fans of the Atlanta Hawks, Dallas Mavericks. You know, if you don't like what the national media is saying about your team, you need to support the content creators who are really true fans of the team. When you come to these shows, we talk Hawks, Mavs, Blorange, Tears. When we lose and we doing these interviews and these shows, that's why we speak with passion.
Right.
See, we care. When we lose, we upset. Unlike the national media, who, you know, I don't know about the Knicks.
They journalists.
But when it comes, but I can speak on the Hawk. When it comes to the Hawk, they don't talk about us anyway. Okay, unless it's always a BS trade, us giving up Trey Young for somebody else trash,
right.
Or you know, we done got somebody that got in a fight at the club in Atlanta, okay,
or lemon pepper,
Lou Will getting wings at Magic City.
Man, them Lou Pepper wings are amazing, man.
But
you had them?
I made sure to go to Magic City to grab a pair when I went down to Atlanta last year or 2 years ago.
Bro, I didn't even get to get them, bro, when I went down
there.
The
wings are amazing, man. I was real talk.
Support your local fan channels, man. We true fans of the team. Okay, we
right.
true fans of the team. So make sure y'all tap in, hit them like and subscribe buttons, man, and share the videos and tweets. That's all I got.
Yeah,
for
man.
you.
I kind of like this, fellas. Y'all like this?
Yeah, this was dope, man. I appreciate it.
Time, like you said, man. Time went by fast, man. It went by real fast.
Yeah, I kept seeing the ticket. I'm like, oh snap, we ain't gonna get. I ain't gonna be able to ask 3 questions. I got to ask 3 questions though.
I always miss that 2-hour mark, man. I be trying. Sometimes I'd be cutting the show off at I don't do an outro. I'd be like, all right, you guys, bye, click.
Yep.
Me and Rel be forgetting the time. We be like, oh shoot, it's almost 2.5 hours now. Rel like we gotta stop it up, and I always be at late night. So
yeah, man. So what do y'all have coming up? What's y'all next event coming up?
We just gonna have our regular show on Tuesday, man. Stop on by for We Talk Mavs on YouTube. We'll have our show Tuesday evening, 10:30 p.m. as usual. Of course, show our members only show on Fridays in the mornings, and then we'll have another show on next Saturday until the season starts.
We're looking to have some roundtables going on. So if you want to know,
we're gonna try to get them
we're gonna try to get a couple Mavs roundtables between the journalists we've talked to, between the Twitter folks that we deal with, maybe one for them and then one for like just our local
the Mav content
creators. So we're gonna try to do some stuff. Yeah, we got some stuff in the bag.
Right. Hey, Demond, y'all still doing the morning shows?
We do a morning show. I'm still messing around with it. We got let's see. We got Summer League coming up. We got the draft coming up. I'm still trying to put together because Vegas from Austin ain't nothing. I'll hop a flight out there. So I might try to get out there for Summer League, but we do Summer League content. We're gonna do draft content, and right now we got interviews from just Hawks fans. We got a segment called Getting to Know Hawk Fans. We did one with our boy Mikey.
Yeah,
mine is up. I gotta hit Greg. We got Greg coming up. Matt,
get Matt, man.
I'm gonna tell you what Matt gonna say anyway. Matt love Trey Young and Trae have to play.
Love Trey Young, and it was all Knicks fault.
Hey, shout out to your 1000, Demond. Big talk.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, guys.
Congrats,
I'm trying to catch up with y'all, man.
You'll be there, man. Trust me, you'll be there. You got fire content, man. You the real recognized real. Always say.
Shout out to everybody who be on the panel, man, in the chat, man. The homie, y'all know the regulars, analysts, Matt. This channel, our channel, nothing without everybody. You feel me?
Right.
What you got going on, Freezy?
So most weekday mornings, y'all know what it is. Knicks Morning Drive. Most nights, the Knicks at Night podcast. Y'all know what it is. We doing the New York Knicks basketball podcast on audio, on all of your audio podcast platforms. MoFire is separate content. So it's not like you go in there getting the same thing you already heard. For the most part, we're trying to do separate content. We got the Blorange Tears newsletter where we send an emailing you Knicks content. So however you like to have your New York Knicks content dispensed to you, We're trying to cover all those angles. Make sure you go to the We Talk Mavs merch shop and get their new stuff. They got new stuff on the way. Make sure y'all check out.
Yeah, we're gonna be working on that. Working on that.
And also, make sure you continue to follow all of us on social media as we continue to have dialogues with the cameras off. But with that said, gents, thank y'all for coming through and rocking with us.
Salute.
Appreciate it. This was Mo Fire. For everybody on every channel, We Talk Mavs, We Talk Hawks, Blorange Tears. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. We'll holler at y'all later. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Yeah, shout out to